What's up, nerds? We are here finally a week after. It's been a week.
It's
right?
been a week. Yeah, today's been a week.
We finally got to take it all in.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame.
Got to soak it in and
I saw it a couple times.
yeah, I saw it a couple times.
I saw it the one time over the weekend.
Boo. Oh, this is Steven.
Hey.
Martin,
of course.
Mike, of course, obviously. Had to talk about Avengers Endgame. Yeah, we gave it a whole week. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did a spoiler, or I guess I did a quick spoiler free.
You did a spoiler free.
Mini spoiler free. Wore the same shirt. I love this shirt. I'm gonna wear it. This is probably the last time I'm gonna wear it because it's over. It's the end. But yeah, so we got to kind of just think about Endgame. I had to see it 2 times because I had some thoughts the first time.
But also the second time you saw it in IMAX. I saw it in IMAX also. To you, was it like a whole new experience?
Oh yeah, big time.
It was like it felt to me like I was watching it for the first time.
It was like a whole new world.
It was crazy. Like
more screen.
Yeah,
and better sound. Mm-hmm. Because the theater we went to.
We went to AMC.
And the sound sounded low for me, but I'm also going deaf. Mm-hmm. And I'm blind already, so I'm an old man.
When I saw it, I just saw it in IMAX the first time.
Okay, so good. We all had the IMAX experience.
Yeah, man. So you just straight up watched it like the best possible format.
Yes, of course.
How was the crowd at yours?
Very crowded, very crowded.
But were they like engaging and screaming and yelling and clapping, or were they all just quiet?
They were quiet at the beginning, but when we got to the ultimate epic scenes, that's when they started cheering and saying stuff.
So, it goes without saying, spoilers were, from this point on, if you still haven't seen it for some reason, if you're
Why are you watching the video?
Yeah, don't watch the video.
Right.
This is going to be spoiler talk.
You're one of the few in the entire world that hasn't seen it.
You're one of the dozens of people that have not seen it. So just walk away if you don't want to hear any theories or actual spoilers or, thoughts on the whole film, because we're going to break this shit down.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So, okay. I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. It's still not my favorite MCU movie.
Okay.
There's still some points in the film that were... Like the beginning, it was a little slow.
Yeah, let's start with the beginning.
Yeah, okay, so the first time I didn't catch this, but the rat.
Basically, if the rat never was there, then the entire world would still be.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't catch the rat the first time.
And I was actually thinking, and I think other people were talking about it, was how if Doctor Strange went through, over 14 million different timelines
and
scenarios, I wonder if this was the one scenario. It was like, okay, the rat did it, and that's the scenario he had to go with. You know what I mean?
If that rat should be an Avenger.
Yeah, he's an honorary Avenger now. They just gotta find the rat. So,
but
Master Splinter.
But all the theories saying that Ant-Man would be the key, they weren't wrong.
They were not wrong. Ant-Man is technically, he's obviously the key. They would have never done anything if he had not come out of the quantum realm.
Yeah, a combination of shrinking tech and combination of Iron Man's tech.
Yeah. And it's like Iron Man had a plan the whole time. He's been working on it, behind the scenes, and he'd never let go. And maybe he stopped at one point until they mentioned the quantum realm, and he never considered it,
Right.
Well, I just thought that after talking to Cap and all the other Avengers that went to see him, I thought he just started thinking about it, because when Iron Man gets an idea in his head, it's hard to get it out.
Yeah, that's true. But, man, so very beginning, it's a couple of months after the snap, or the vanishing.
No, it's been 22 days.
It's been 22 days, and that was cool because it was an Easter egg to 22 films. Mm-hmm. So it's the 22nd film, 22 days in space. I thought that was really cool.
So the thing about that was, when Tony Stark finally came back to Earth, being saved by
Captain
Marvel, and you know what I actually liked about that whole first sequence is like with the little 2-3 minute sequence. Nebula, they fleshed her out a lot more.
Yeah, they gave her...
Just by her like, like, oh no, you eat, like I'm good, like
She became more empathetic throughout the
right, and
she
like
did.
it really did a lot more for her than I feel like the first Guardians or even the second one.
I think the second Guardian, she really grew.
Yeah, it did, but I think this one like really
It humanized her.
You really saw her completely change.
Yeah, it definitely humanized her, especially just seeing her trying to play, the little football.
It was exciting.
I want to play again. And I thought that was cool because, like, they were flicking, and then later on, Iron Man flicks Ant-Man. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like, they were, like, maybe he was practicing this whole time to flick Ant-Man, in the future.
I doubt it, but okay. You're reading way too into it.
I know. There's so many things you could break down. Like, okay, like, also in the very beginning when Iron Man was saying it's always been you, it's a callback to him promoting her to taking over Stark Industries, because he says it's you, it's always been you. And then it cuts, and then you come to the present film, and he says it's you, it's always been you. And I was like, oh, that's another nice little callback. Mm-hmm. So the whole movie is just full of callbacks to previous films, little nods.
Man, yes.
Basically, the whole movie was one giant Easter egg for all the movies.
Yeah, the whole thing. And I mean, there's obvious stuff like when they time travel, but then there's those little things like the 22 days, it's always been you, and there's more that we'll go through as we break down the movie. But any thoughts? Any other thoughts on the intro when he's still in space?
When he's still in space, no, but like man, it's kind of heartbreaking because you just see this character who's always in control of everything,
and he lost it.
Not have any control and be like withering and weak and skinny.
The way they made him look skinny, man.
Oh yeah, that was bad. Like
that was bad.
Yeah.
He looked like a skinny Steve Rogers,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Well,
it's like that role change.
Being stuck in space with zero food and water for 4 months can do that too.
Yeah, and Nebula, she's mostly robotic. So I mean, she let him eat more. Tried to help him, and it was just touching to see her put him in the chair. She knew he was gonna let go, and he was ready to die. And that was it. I was like, "Fuck!" Yeah. But he did. He made it.
Yeah, I loved it. That was a good. Oh, actually, let's go back to the very beginning.
Okay.
Beginning, yes, the Hawkeye family scene, dude.
Ooh, it was
because like I knew when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, that's the opening, yeah. But man.
That was hard. Like,
honestly, I felt really bad for him.
Oh man, his reaction too. Like Jeremy Renner, man, he nailed it. Like he had the first thing I noticed in his acting on that was where she's like looking for his daughter, and then he turns to find the kids, and he doesn't see them, but his face goes from not worried, but more like
freaked out.
Not even that, just like his eyes. You could see it in his eyes. Like, okay, what the hell is going on? Like he was. Like ready to fight somebody, but there was no one to fight, and his family was gone. And whistling and trying to find his boys, and it just hit me because I'm like, man, I have a daughter, she's older. I have a son, and I have another one on the way. So I was like, damn, I'm gonna have
some nightmares.
It was just like, oh man, losing your kids and your wife like that, not knowing anything. I mean, he didn't know shit about Thanos,
Yeah.
He knows nothing about it.
And he was on house arrest, so he couldn't exactly go out and look for him.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do. So, I mean, he was just completely lost. And he may not have really found out much about it until, maybe watching the news and he realized, okay, everyone vanished. Maybe he heard the name Thanos later. But, I mean, he turned into Ronin, man.
Oh, that was his name. That name was killing me because that was his second alter ego in the comic.
Yeah, so he becomes... And Ronin was actually a girl in the comics at first in New Avengers. And then, I forgot what happened to her, but he takes over and becomes Ronin after the whole...
and what I like about it is that he was, like, ruthless. Because even Rhodey... says like, I don't think you want to find him anymore because
it's
of
scary.
what he's become and just like finding bodies everywhere and just like that whole sequence in Tokyo was awesome. Like I loved that sequence.
I wanted more of it.
I did too. I did too.
Man.
But I was like, we might get something like that in the Hawkeye spin-off series.
I feel like we won't, man. Ronin was like that limited. It was just a nice callback, something that we'd never saw or thought we'd ever see on screen, and they did it just to be like, here's some fan service. The whole movie's fan service.
Exactly.
So, it was so good.
I loved,
so we have to go back to the beginning again. So, Captain Marvel brings them back to Earth.
Would that be like her second time heading back to Earth? Because at the end...
Dude, that doesn't make sense. That was the thing. That doesn't make sense. Okay. Yeah. I'm guessing...
Like she went back into space to look for.
Okay, so at the end of Captain Marvel post credit scenes,
yeah, she's on Earth.
The thing
Goes off,
and she shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. I'm hoping that it's not because to me that was very confusing. Like, it seems like this is the first time they meet her.
Okay, no, check it. I figured it out. I was thinking about that too. I was like, how does this work? Because they had the beeper in the case.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, what is this? Who's it supposed to call? So I'm thinking what you're thinking.
She went to Earth first. They told her, hey, this guy's
you
stuck
go
in
get
space.
Stark.
Yeah.
And then they went. And then that's when they kind of
Because
expected.
also that makes more sense because it's like, what are the odds of her just coming across this ship? Just
It wouldn't make. I mean, it would be cool, but it didn't make sense.
So stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes more sense that I know where he is. Thank you for telling me, and then goes and gets him and saves him.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Because to me, I'm like, what?
How does it tie in?
But I'm trying to remember at the beginning of that movie, when she comes down with the ship, it seems like that was the first time they did meet her though. Or did they?
No,
well,
they just started talking.
I can't remember.
Well, I think they were so surprised that she's carrying a ship on her back.
Okay.
I feel like they already.
see that.
I feel like they met her. They know who she is and how powerful she is.
Well, they have like a small idea. They don't really know her true power until she goes up against Thanos.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I feel like they already knew her because she brings them down. She looks at them, and then it cuts straight to them just kind of sitting there and talking. You know, so it's like, okay, maybe they've already met. Because there was no conversation like, who are you? There was none of that happened.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that. And it happens in almost every Marvel movie where you have to kind of just use your imagination and fill in those gaps. Like those little things. Okay, so then one of the heartbreaking things was when he lands and Steve comes and gets Tony first, and we all lost, and he lost the kid, and I was like, oh shit, and it keeps coming back to that, like he lost a kid, and he keeps thinking about it, and even 5 years later he keeps thinking about it, obviously, and he has that photo and so forth. So,
well, Peter Parker was the closest thing he had to a son.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and that's why it was so devastating. But when Steve finally cracks, when Tony finally cracks and yells at Steve like, "Where were you? You said we would lose together, and you weren't even here," and and I was like, wow, like, and
he let him rant because Steve wasn't in the wrong. Like technically, he gave Iron Man the phone to call him.
Yeah, he gave him an olive branch.
He gave him everything that he needed in order for Steve to be there.
And he hesitated in Infinity War.
So, like, I just feel like he just let him rant. Like he just like.
And Hulk was the one who called him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know you're wrong. But like, I'm just gonna let you
say
get it out because and it was pretty heartbreaking because like
he just looked so frail.
Yeah, he was very
It was bad, and I don't know. So then he passes out, whatever, and then now they're like, okay, let's do this. Now they know that the stones have been used again. So now let's go get Thanos. And I was like, yes, and it was kind of like we thought about that. We anticipated, they're gonna fight Thanos. In the beginning.
And I thought it was gonna be a battle. I didn't think it was gonna be what it was.
A massacre.
Although I did know that he was gonna be a weaker Thanos.
I didn't know he was gonna be that weak.
But I didn't think so either.
We have to remember in Infinity War, after he used the stones the first time and he's just sitting there on his farm, his hand was already all jacked
up. Yeah. But
he was fine.
I think I thought he was gonna. I didn't think he was gonna be that weak though.
Yeah, he wasn't messed up in the face yet, and it was like part of his arm. So when he did the second snap, it ruined everything on
and
his left side.
He did something more than just destroy life. He destroyed the symbols of the universe. So reality, time.
Yeah, so that's another thing to think about and we have to come back to it because he technically destroyed the stones and kind of altered reality. Like, in all honesty, when he destroyed the stones, reality, everything in existence should have just ceased to exist.
Yeah, because in the comics, if you destroy the stone's representation, you destroy that in the universe.
Yeah, so they were all gone. So I think that's a little plot hole.
No, well, I don't think that was ever set up in the movie world.
They never said anything about it.
And I don't think that destroyed time or space or anything like that with him doing the snap.
No, it didn't. It didn't. That's what we're saying. Like, nothing bad happened from destroying the stones. So, I mean, were they just... I mean, when he destroyed the stones, everything should have just gone black and that's the end of the movie? You know what I mean?
No, well, I mean, I don't think so because the stones don't... like they don't command time or space, or they're manipulation. They're tools to manipulate those things.
Well, even when you go back to when the Collector was talking about them, he mentioned that, there was nothing, and then there were the stones. And then from the stones, everything was created. So if the stones...
I don't remember that.
Well, I heard in a comic book that before anything in the universe, there was this cosmic deity that performed a form of cosmic suicide, and when it did it, it broke up into the 6 Infinity Stones.
So maybe that's what the stones... But they're not going to touch on
But
that
that's
yet.
not... Yeah, but that's comics, though. Like, it's
Well, they're
totally
pulling
different from... Yeah, but that it doesn't mean they pull everything from
Well, of course
it. I mean,
not.
like...
So anyway,
it's all...
we can argue about that all day, really, because...
Yeah.
But honestly, I think that was one of the little holes.
Yeah.
Like, if the stones are destroyed, is that it? Just nothing else can happen and just keep moving
There's
forward?
just a lot of tiny details that if they explored, the movie would have ended a lot sooner.
Yeah. But, I mean, and then just, Thor going for the head, finally.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just...
Yeah.
And you could feel how meaningless it was.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we got Thanos, we killed him.
But it meant nothing if they weren't able to save
They
anyone.
couldn't bring anybody back.
Mm-hmm.
And the most devastated was, I think, Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
She looked the most devastated. And she's the one that really wanted to bring everybody back. Everyone was kind of just accepting it,
Yeah.
Well, I think Nebula sort of had the same look in her eye because even though that he destroyed all life in half of the galaxy, it was still her father.
Yeah, well, when the blood got on her face and then she closed his eyes, and I was like, okay, that's still her father. So she was still, like, sympathetic towards, because that's all she really had, as far as family and Gamora,
And right before he died, he was apologizing too, which made it extra heartbreaking.
Was he? No, he was just saying, thank you, daughter.
I've been a tad hard on you.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said something like... I may have been too harsh on you.
Yeah.
And then dead.
Yeah, I mean, he was harsh. Every time she lost a fight, he would remove one of her body parts and replace it with robots.
Yep. So, I mean, from there, it just goes 5 years into the future. Mm-hmm. And by this time...
Everyone has done their own thing now.
Yeah, there's a monument done.
Let's talk about... Is there anything... Let's not, like... retell the story.
No, I want to break it down.
But was there anything that you didn't like in this movie?
Well, I want to go scene by scene. I can tell you what I liked and didn't like.
Oh man,
not scene by scene.
3 hours?
Not scene by scene, but yeah, we can go for 3 hours.
Jesus
Christ. Well, okay, because I want to think chronologically. We don't have to go through everything, but I want to think chronologically because there's just so much in this movie, and it's like there's little details that I'm like, oh, that's a callback to this, that's a callback to that, and like there's just so much to unpack. Like even emotional impacts. I think the first big emotional impact for me was when Ant-Man comes back and he's most worried about finding his daughter, and he's trying to find her on the thing.
That was the first thing that was it was like gut wrenching.
And then when he saw his own name, he was like, oh, she thinks I'm dead. And then...
You had to go run all the way there.
Yeah, when he got there and she's older, oh, man. And and you can tell they concentrated on that moment, longer than they needed to, but it was enough because he was hugging her, he looked at her, hugged her again, they had a couple of words, they teared up, and I was like, fuck. Like, I was just like, oh, my God. Like, and I think it hurts more just having a kid again. Like, just being a dad. If... my daughter Leia, I see her now, she's 5, and I come back 5 years later, she's 10. I would just be like, what did I miss? Like,
although there's one thing that I think that he should have asked his daughter. Where's your mom and where's your stepdad?
Nah, they were never mentioned, man. No one cares.
Like, were they snapped away, or?
They never mentioned, man. It was like she was living on her own,
Yeah.
She's what, 15, living on her own?
Yeah, it seemed that way. It's like everyone was lost. I mean, no one could really do anything about it, and now that he's back, and just the fact that he was able to go, I wondered what he told her, like, I got to go to the Avengers, and he left her alone again,
He's like, what the heck?
But he knew. But I think she knew, like
you have to do something.
You're the only one that could probably help them.
He must have shared some stuff with her, and then, so then, I mean, we're skipping ahead, jumping into we saw one of the big ones that everyone was discussing. Another Easter egg was before Scott Lang came out, Black Widow was having a meeting.
Oh yeah, with the Captain Marvel, Rocket, the head general of Wakanda,
and War Machine. And they mentioned the earthquake in the Atlantic Ocean.
That don't
Namor.
No.
Yeah.
Which one's
No,
Namor? I've
no,
never heard
no.
of him.
He's the
Sorry.
Marvel's Aquaman.
Sorry,
Really?
no, but that has nothing to do with anything.
I feel like he's
You
a
know
right
that
there.
they would not just put
no,
that in the
dude,
movie.
because even Captain Marvel said it right then and there. The same things are happening all around the other worlds.
What?
That's when they found. No,
that has nothing to do with the Atlantic Ocean and earthquake under the ocean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what she meant was like the loss of life and all the confusion and chaos. I think she meant that.
Okay, but like
yeah.
I'm saying, well, okay, here's the reason why it like here's a logistics reason why that's definitely not an Easter egg for him. Marvel doesn't own him at this moment.
No, but they share
Universal, right? But Universal has the exclusive rights to the character and to the distribution,
as they do with
not with Hulk, because Marvel can use Hulk without having distributing.
They can do the same deal. They're both Universal,
but they're not. No. Marvel owns the Hulk character, but if they want to make a movie, they have to do it through Universal. Not the case with it's kind of like the Spider-Man.
But you
thing,
know that they plan things in other movies. Think about older movies like Iron Man 2.
I will bet you right now like $1 million.
You don't have $1 million. I'll bet you your whole collection.
Okay, fine.
All right.
But it's not gonna happen.
It's
not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Can we just agree that there's a whole complicated process with ownership?
You have to agree
that
you have to agree that they wouldn't just say that in the movie. Just like nothing's ever wasted.
There could have been another reason for that, but I don't think it was for Namor specifically.
Honestly, we're discussing an Easter egg that might not even be true. So.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. It's not even a real Easter egg.
I think
you're reading into it.
I think it is.
I mean, if anyone put an Easter egg for a D-ranked hero.
Did you see the ketchup?
He's part of the Illuminati. He's a huge guy.
Did you see the ketchup on the table at the dinner scene?
Shut
that was an Easter egg to this and that.
Whatever.
That's what you're doing.
No, man. Yes. I'm not the only one that thinks this.
Yes, you are.
What are your chances we can jump on the new Hulk?
Thank you. That's where I've been trying to get to.
Okay, so new Hulk. I think. Okay, the first time I saw new Hulk, that was my first disappointment.
Me too.
At first.
I'm still disappointed.
It's my first disappointment.
Honestly, I thought that if his intellect was in a Hulk body, I would think that he might still have like a little bit of rage in there, but he was a bit.
They kind of hinted at it.
Him.
They kind of hinted at his rage. Remember when they go to get Thor and Thor's like, "Don't you mention that name?" And then the Hulk kind of smiles and he grabs his hand and says, "Get your hand off me!" And then he has to force it off.
That's as angry as he gets.
Yeah, but he's totally calm.
That was pretty they neutered the Hulk.
They neutered the Hulk. That's why I was disappointed.
That's what I was so.
He wasn't dangerous anymore.
Like when he goes back to New York.
Throwing a bike.
What was that?
But we're forgetting the one important thing about what Hulk did.
No, he dabbed. Why?
That was so bad.
Listen to your mother. She knows best. Oh God.
Well, so I didn't like that because they compromised it where the Hulk was no longer the Hulk. I mean, you might as well have just made him Banner.
So
it's just Banner in a
bigger because the only thing that was a benefit was when he had to get the gauntlet at the very end.
Because he was part Gamma.
That was pretty much it.
He had the physical and intellect to handle it.
Mm-hmm. But that was it because even I think he was even smaller than the original Hulk,
the big Hulk passed by
and
then we were like, oh damn, that's way bigger than
and
I think you were mainly staring at him because he was smashing a taxi cab, jumping out like a upset little kid.
No, like I'm telling you, like Hulk. So I think
he got embarrassed. When
I think Smart Hulk was like 8-9 feet. And original Hulk was like almost 9-10 feet. I don't know. It was a big difference.
All I know is that if he gets angry enough, he might get a little bigger or something. Because the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. But
it just seems like he's real cool about everything. Like he's real chill about everything. He's like, yeah, man. Like
I'll take a picture. You want to take a picture with that, man?
That's not how time travel works, man. Here's 2 tacos. You know,
Jolly Green Giant style. And they played the music, and he's like, "Here you go, little buddy." And just walks away.
And let's discuss the whole new time travel rules.
Hold on, not yet. It gets hardcore there. I still want to go back to other little details, like one of the Russo brothers being in the circle. And also the creator of Thanos was in that circle.
He's he like all the Russo brothers have been in every movie except for Infinity War, I think.
Yeah, so one of the Russo brothers was the first openly gay character in the MCU, which a lot of people gave flack for, but whatever. And then the creator of Thanos was also there. So I thought that was cool. I didn't realize it was him.
Yeah,
he was there.
The bald guy.
No, the bald guy. I'm sorry.
Guy.
Yeah. And so that was kind of cool seeing them talk and like Steve trying to tell everyone, yeah, it's time to move on, but he's not moving on, and that's when the whole line "not us" came about. Came about.
He's had a lot of good lines in that movie. He said a lot of good lines.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's really good at that. Huh?
He's really good. At
Well, he has experience and wisdom, and with age comes wisdom, and we all know how old he is.
Mm-hmm. So moving from there, then we kind of get into we saw the Hulk. Oh no! Before that, they even went to go see Iron Man. Now, before they went to Hulk, they got to see Tony Stark has a daughter, Morgan. She was so freaking cute,
and
man.
she's wearing her mother's helmet, the rescue suit.
Is it Rescue or is it Ironheart?
No, it's Rescue, because in the old Iron Man animated series, the Iron Avenger, when Pepper Potts got her Iron Man suit,
They called her Rescue.
Yeah, Rescue.
Because in the comics, she's Ironheart.
Honestly, I kind of like the name Rescue better.
Man, I like Ironheart.
I think that's one of the new characters that were introduced. I think there was another one, but I'm pretty sure that was just her.
Yeah.
I like Iron Woman. I'm just kidding.
Iron Woman.
That's
I guess that works too. But Morgan was super cute, and you can tell she has like.
She was so adorable.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
Kind of like Cassie was.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. No. But
yeah. And then,
but look, like I understand where Tony was coming from.
Well, he had everything. He lucked out.
Right. He lucked out, but he also said even if he didn't luck out, I don't think he would want to go back and change everything, because I think he was thinking of like, if we go back, we could fuck up even more.
Yeah, but not just that he could lose his daughter. He could lose his current, present time, in the future with his family.
Well, at least Hawkeye will have someone to talk to in that case.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually surprised that when he discovered time travel and he told Pepper that she was kind of the one that swayed him into saying, yeah, go on the mission. Mm-hmm. Usually, and she admitted it, she's like, every time I tell you no, you go and do it anyway, so just go do it, And I was like, I expected more of a fight from her because they have this daughter, they have everything.
Yeah, it's always the mom that's the buzzkill.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna tell your mom. So, but at the same time, I guess it far outweighed the fact that they have everything and everyone else didn't. Mm-hmm. And he also, like you said, didn't have Peter Parker now. So it was just that pain, and the fact that he figured out time travel. It was like, like when he's like, "Oh shit," and she's like, "Shit." It's like, and then he's like,
"That's $1 for a swear jar."
But what are you doing? Well, I got shit to do. And I was like, that was so cute.
That was a funny little bad trip.
Yeah.
But it was very convenient. Like, hey, just do this real quick on the computer. I know it's not gonna work, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it worked.
But I got the hint that he had been thinking about it for the last 5 years, because he's that Tony Stark never just says, okay, we lost, I'm moving on.
He always thinks of something. He's a thinker. He has to think of different scenarios.
It was always bothering him. And I bet you the only logical thing in his head was time travel. Like, there's no other thing there's nothing else you can do except go back. You know?
And he didn't think about it until Scott Lang came.
Yeah, I mean, I think he thought about it. I think he had been thinking about it, but he never factored in quantum physics. Yeah. I think he had been thinking of other ways, like, how can we time travel? How can we time travel? And then he was like, well, okay, it's possible because Scott's here. He was only in there for 5 hours and 5 years passed, so maybe there is something there. So then he factored it in, and that's why it seemed so convenient. Mm-hmm. And it clicked. Everything made sense once Scott came back, And that's why I was like, oh shit. And I got the same feeling. The first time I saw it, I was like,
there's a lot of convenient plot points.
Yeah, but you go back through all these other movies with Iron Man, and it's just
movie.
like, okay, he's like typing like montage types and montage messing with holograms, and then something's made, and you're like, yeah, he put the thought into that.
Yeah,
come on.
If you see a movie the second time, you notice stuff you didn't see before.
Yeah. So I don't know, but so he figured it out. And then he has like those tender moments, and the most tender moment that comes back later is when he says, "I love you a bunch," and she says, "I love you 3000." And he's like, "Wow."
Oh, I didn't know that, but it's a
Iron Man
callback
3000.
Yeah, Iron Man 3000.
The workout equipment from way back. Yeah. So I think that was a pretty funny callback, but it's also a touching moment that comes back later.
Yeah.
So that was cute.
And he's like, "You were somewhere in the 60 to 90 range," or something like that.
Yeah, when he goes up to Pepper and he's like, "Oh, she loves me 3000. You were somewhere in like the 700, 900 range."
All you need to know is that she loves me more.
I just love the part when he's like, "I'm gonna sell all your toys if you don't go to bed. Go to bed, or I'm gonna sell all your toys." That's what I tell my kids. So
that's how you got to get him to, behave. And
that's how you lay down the law, man. It's a nice parenting tidbit. Tell them you're gonna throw away their toys.
So next we Avengers are trying time travel.
Yeah,
failing.
Testing it.
Really funny because they're sending Scott through I don't know what.
Yeah,
coming back as a baby. Coming back as an old man.
And then the funny thing was he turned into the kid that's in Brightburn.
Oh, Brightburn.
Yeah, so like I can't remember his name, but the kid that's playing. And you have to see that because you haven't seen the trailer,
no,
right?
I have not seen the
trailer.
trailer.
The kid that's in Brightburn, he's the young Scott Lang. And then they do baby, old man, and then they bring him back. And it's like, oh, shit. So
And Stark comes in and said, "Did he turn into a baby?"
Yep.
Yeah.
And when he says that, he mentions something interesting. He said that they're using the quantum energy to change him and manipulate him.
Oh, you're how did it go?
That's what I'm trying to remember how he said.
You're working. You're sending Scott through time and not
time through
Scott.
No, you're sending time through Scott, but
and
not Scott through time.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it tells you there's different ways to control time.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's one time where it controls your aging, and the other where you go different points in time.
Yeah, so they're putting they control time in Scott, which means that's kind of cool. They can make someone young again. It's the fountain of youth.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
There's your immortality right there.
That's your immortality right there. But of course, Tony comes to the rescue. He creates little navigational devices so they can navigate through time. He makes amends with Steve, gives him back his shield,
and says, "I had to get it out of shed, or else my kid would have used it as a sled."
Yeah, that was funny. I would have used that thing as a sled too, and then put it back on my shelf.
Perfect size.
Yeah, it's a nice size. I need to go buy one of those like Marvel Legends.
No, I've seen those. Yeah, I
like $100.
Yeah, I know. I want one though.
Shoot, I want that. The gauntlet.
They have the Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mjolnir.
Honestly, I saw one of those Captain America things at Think Geek at Sylvester Mall. They were selling them for like $1,000.
Oh, what? Not 1,000? You're crazy.
It wasn't 1,000.
No, it has to be like 100.
Yeah, the Marvel Legends one.
120.
All I know is that it was a big, heavy shield, and it looked pretty damn cool.
Okay, well, we need to go get ourselves one now.
Yeah.
You need some more Marvel in your life. Look at this DC.
Yeah, there's so many bats around me.
I have a.
Your Marvel posters are on the wrong side.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, anyway.
Why didn't you bring that over here?
So they, Tony's big question now is the whole team in? And Steve's like, almost. And that's when they go to visit Thor.
At New Asgard.
God of Thunder.
And there's just one issue I have with the whole new Asgard thing. If all the Asgardians were on the ship when Thanos attacked and it was blown up, how are some of these characters still alive? What's her name? Valkyrie, that rock dude, and Meek.
Yeah, Valkyrie, Korg.
Well, they escaped before Thanos.
Like when Thanos
they
arrived,
with like half.
Yeah, half got away, half stayed to fight.
And then half of those people were also dusted. So
yeah.
So like a quarter of the Asgardians was left.
That's all that was left. Yeah. He had all these Asgardians.
He murdered half of them.
Half left, and then half were vanished.
Yeah.
So that's all they had left, and then it's just like this little town over in Burke with the dragons.
New Asgard is its new name. And that's when we get to see Thor's new look.
Okay, wait. So this was one of my biggest problems because I thought they just kind of like
they turned it into a joke.
Hey, Thor's fat, and hey, Lebowski, and this and that for too long.
Yes,
but
yes.
I understand why he got like that.
Yeah, I get it. I get why he became larger.
Mm-hmm.
I get why he had the beer gut.
Now I can cosplay as Thor. That's the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah,
You just need the beard.
Now I can.
beard, yep.
Yes.
We need
now
to brighten up your skin a little.
I can cosplay as Mexican Thor, and that'll be amazing.
Thor?
Thor.
Ese es mi Thor.
Hey, Thor.
That's so stupid.
Or
And he
he'll be
uses
like,
Stormbreaker to cut the weeds and everything.
I know, right?
or like he'll be like a Korg. Hey, Thor. Hey, this guy's talking smack about me.
Oh, and they're playing freaking Fortnite.
Hey, so
Oh,
Fortnite
God.
is still relevant 5 years later.
I'm surprised.
You know what I mean? Like
It's last-
I'm surprised the creators of
out-
Fortnite didn't die.
Yeah, they outlived like Minecraft and stuff, you know. So
Honestly, Fortnite is just the same thing as Minecraft. It's just that one game has guns.
that's all you need for a successful game nowadays. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my biggest beef. The first time I saw Avengers Endgame was they turned Thor into a joke. He went from being
They
Mighty
built him
Warrior.
up in the last two movies with Ragnarok and Infinity War. He became like my favorite
he
character.
was my favorite in Infinity War.
And
All-time
then
hero.
And then they but I think if they would have taken it more serious, I think that whole transformation would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Because that, like him going back to Asgard and seeing his mother and everything, and
That's
it's
when it
all
started
like
to turn
drama.
around.
Like it's like
It turned around
Holy
there for
crap, dude! Like I am a representation of my failures. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
basically, him being like that is just like you see it on the outside, like his failures.
Yeah.
And I thought that was brilliant, but they did turn it into a big joke. That
And
I
you know
just-
what? What are the? Is it the Farley brothers that do comedy?
Fart, yeah, like the Dumb and Dumber. And,
Yeah.
That seems
I felt
somebody
like that's
would
what
do.
he was. He was a Farley brothers. Like the Farley brothers came in and directed Thor throughout this movie. I was so pissed. I was just like, why?
Honestly, if I had it my way, I would have just made him like a major drunk. Maybe that's it. Maybe
More drunk
But
than
I
usual.
thought, remember in the first Thor movie, he couldn't get drunk?
Well, I
Because-
think
or-
No,
is it-
he could.
he just had a
No, he had like a
alcohol.
shitload of alcohol and he couldn't get drunk.
But this time he was like constantly drinking on the daily. So like it wasn't
barrels
just
and
like
barrels.
one party night and then he was just that's all he was doing. He wasn't even eating really. I guess peanuts and whatever. But anyway, so he turned into a joke and it pissed me off. I think the second time I watched Avengers Endgame, I felt a little bit better about it. Because, I accepted the fact, yes, he's depressed. And yes, they should have done a little bit more, gone deeper on that depression, I think. But instead, they ran too long with the whole joke thing. And even the music changed when they showed him. It was like, dun, dun. They were playing this music for Avengers, and all of a sudden they show him and... Not really, but when they showed him, Thor... Where was...
changed.
The tone changed completely, but the music did with him too. Like they
It was
did,
almost
the
like
rattle.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
that's what I was about.
It was like Big Lebowski music.
I was about like when they were showing him on the seat.
Yeah,
like
he's
is he dead? In my head, I was like, oh, they're gonna do like the like the stupid the stupid Ferris
Arnold?
Bueller. Ferris
Ferris
Bueller.
Bueller, yeah. I'm thinking Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
And even when you see him in his full hero suit, he doesn't look that menacing.
No, well, you know what? Okay,
he
that's
looked like Odin.
he did. He looked like Odin. So that's where I think I felt a little bit more redeemed. He was a joke for too long.
Yeah,
for me.
he
was a
especially when
joke.
they build him up like
And
that.
Right up. He was a joke right up until I think the last joke they said about him was his mom saying, "Eat a salad." That was the last time.
Actually, funny thing about that, when I went to go see the movie, I whispered to my friend Ricky, right before she said that, 5 seconds, I said, he needs to eat a salad. And then 5 seconds later, she says, eat a salad.
No, actually, that's not the last time.
But the two times that I saw it, I couldn't hear what she said because everyone was laughing.
Oh, okay.
So
that's what it was.
I didn't know. Yeah,
But actually, that wasn't the last. The joke ran further. It went all the way to the beginning of the third act when he's like, "What do you think courses through my veins?" And
Cheese
whiz. I was like, "Shit!" They keep going.
Well, what do you
Stupid
think?
fat jokes.
His gut is bigger than his hammer.
But still, like I feel like when he realized he was still worthy, when he called Mjolnir, and he caught it, I felt like that was the moment where it should have been like, okay, I'm still worthy. Let's do this, you know. But then they do the cheese whiz line, and I'm like, well, shit. Like,
yeah, honestly, yeah, it really did.
And when the Thor of that past time need his hammer to take on the Dark
But
Elves?
you know what?
Yeah.
Remember the very ending where, well, not the ending, but the part where he's like begging Hulk for him to do the snap because he wants to do something good.
Yeah.
That was redeeming also. Like like to me, like it's like because like I'm not a joke. Like I want to be like I want to do something good. You know? And to me that was redeeming also. And then of course the end battle, but
yeah. So I think the redeeming thing for Thor was finally in the third act, obviously, when he has Stormbreaker and Mjolnir.
Way too long though, man. Like it took way too long for them to redeem.
All I know is that we're getting a little too far ahead. We still got a
little stuff. Where do we leave off? I can't even remember.
When we recap the entire film.
Yeah, first saw Thor. So they meet Thor. They convince him to come. Then they get into the quantum realm suits and they're ready to go. They come up with their plan. They realize 3 stones are in New York. One's on Asgard, and one's on
that crazy far out planet.
Mortag,
I think it was
Mortag. Mortag is like the name of that planet.
Vormir.
Yeah. All I know
that's the other one. That's where the Soul Stone's at.
That's the Soul Stone I'm talking about.
But the Power Stone is on Mortag.
Yeah. Yes, there you go. Something like that.
And I have actually 2 interesting thoughts on the whole team that went to go get the Soul Stone. What if Cap was the one that went to go get the Soul Stone, and he would have encountered his old enemy?
He would have seen.
But he still encountered it. Well, I will get to
We're gonna get that to that. Yeah, it's a little.
Because that doesn't make sense either. But okay.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense towards the end. But okay, so they go split up in their teams, and I think this is the kind of the part where I got a little fatigued with the movie because I was like, okay, here's Thanos again, and it was I don't know if you guys experienced this.
Well, with the whole thing, I thought I don't know if they should have had Black Widow, 2 mortal beings that don't have superpowers, don't have super armor or anything, go to space. I don't think they're the ones that should have gone there. You know, I thought if anything, they should have gone back to 2012.
I like how Ant-Man was like, not it.
Yeah, but like they should have gone back to 2012. Well, you know what I mean? Because like, I think they would have been. I think they could have still handled that same thing. You know.
Well, if they sent their heavy hitters to go get the Soul Stone, they would have lost one of their heavy hitters.
Yes,
and it's just a writing standpoint.
I'm just saying though, but like,
I think it was just a writing standpoint. Directors were like, well,
like, here's the easiest way to kill off.
Yeah, that's what it came down to, and it was interesting because there's a few points where a couple of the characters realize that. It's weird. It's kind of like destiny because they, like the Hulk, realized I was made for this, right? And we'll come back to that later. And Black Widow also said I was meant to be here. Like I was meant to come and sacrifice myself. She mentions that. So there's a few moments where everyone realizes like this is my place, and it made sense for Black Widow to die. The first time I saw it, it didn't impact me. Yeah. And I don't know. I didn't shed a tear. Didn't cry. I was like, oh, she's dead. Okay, let's move on. And the second time I saw it, I was like, okay, it kind of hit me a little harder. I was like, oh, because like you could see the desperation. She's looking at Hawkeye, and she's like, just let me go. And they're
fighting whoever gets to kill themselves.
Mm-hmm. And it was good. I liked the fact that they fought, and that first it was her on the floor, then him on the floor, then her on the floor, and he's jumping, and then she finally gets there. It was like a nice little fight.
It sort of showed how much they cared about each other.
Yeah, and it's the third fight they have, so it's like, and everything comes in threes. When in movies and writing, there's like the rule of 3. And they fought in Avengers when Hawkeye was a bad guy. Mm-hmm. They fought in Civil War when they were just trying to do, stand on each side. And this time they fought to sacrifice themselves, and it's like, wow, like you really think about how all the movies encompass and come together, and it's kind of like amazing that they did this. It's a 3-arc story for these 2 as friends, and like how they were traveling through space, and they're like, oh, we're a long way from what is it?
Budapest.
So,
I was actually kind of hoping we get some background on that, but
we might still get that because they're doing the
Black Widow
movie. Yeah,
so, I think it's a little too late for that.
What do you mean?
Because they killed.
It's a prequel. That's why Budapest is in the past. They got to do a prequel movie. So I think Hawkeye might be a part of it.
And correct me if I'm wrong about the whole Soul Stone situation. If you're like killed, do you become the Soul Stone, or is your soul part of the stone?
So they they went back on that because in the Infinity War, Red Skull says you need to sacrifice someone you love in order for you to get the Soul Stone.
A soul for a soul.
In this one, she killed herself, essentially.
Yeah.
She was not sacrificed.
She sacrificed
herself, but you know what I mean, like that.
But it still worked because they were each trying to sacrifice themselves, and that's where the love was.
Right. And I get like because Gamora didn't love Thanos, so if she would have killed herself, I don't think he would.
Well, I think as long as the love is at least one-sided, I think it'll still work.
But like going to your question, I feel like to me, I've always felt like they get stuck in the Soul Stone. Like maybe there's still a chance, but in Endgame they technically said no, it's a trade. Mm-hmm. The soul you give your soul, and someone gets the stone.
Yeah, a whole deal with the devil situation.
Yeah, that's it. Deal with the devil. And that's it. Like, it's done. Damn. And that's why they're like,
I love how they... You know how, like, they always say, like, well, in Marvel, nobody dies?
Yeah.
That's another frustrating thing about this movie is that 2 people came back.
Yeah?
That were, like, literally dead. Not dusted dead, but dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got Loki and Gamora back.
Well,
which is like,
they had to be taken back to their own time, so I don't think that.
She never went back to her own time.
Well, this is kind of where we get into the whole time thing. So now we're in the time heist, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
which is confusing.
It's super confusing, and the best way to make sense of it is they said so. Originally, Hulk thought time was something else. Yeah. Hulk thought that they can just take the stones and that's it. And no. Ancient One, when he encountered the Ancient One, which was really cool seeing that she was part of the Battle of New York.
Yeah, but she was only protecting that one little area of her temple.
Well, I mean, anything that was flying around, she was destroying them. So it's cool seeing, like, oh, there were other people involved. And I was hoping we'd see the Punisher or something.
Dude, that's...
Daredevil.
I already told you that.
They didn't exist yet. That's technically the truth.
Also, they just don't... They don't count.
Whatever.
They don't count.
They're part of a separate timeline.
All right, let's just agree that Netflix heroes don't count.
They're part of another timeline. That's what I think it is. Because time is linear, right? They started here, and they're always moving forward constantly.
And they're somewhere around here.
No, they're always moving forward. Always moving forward. And then they go back in time. Shh, boom. They come back in time. Now, the past is written. Mm-hmm. No matter what, the rule is the past cannot be changed. Mm-hmm. So
and
when something
future, and he also said that your future can't be changed either.
Well, there's infinite futures. Your future can change, but by going back to the past, your future can't change because your past is always written, right? When you come back to present time, there's still choices as far as what future you choose if you're in the present. Mm-hmm. But you go back in time. Mm-hmm. If you change something, it doesn't change that linear future. It branches off into another timeline and creates a separate universe.
Yeah, and the Sorcerer Supreme says that can be extremely dangerous.
Exactly. So that's when she was explaining to Hulk that you have to bring these items back so everything stays the same.
Because if it spreads out, it could collapse on itself.
It could. And it happened anyway. So they go back to 2012. Mm-hmm. They time heist the scepter, and that was almost...
That's the Mind Stone.
That's the Mind Stone. So luckily, Cap used it and erased the other Cap's mind, so he has no recollection of it. Okay,
yeah, it's pretty. And can we just discuss how awesome it was seeing Captain America takes on Captain America?
Can we discuss how awesome it was when he said "Hail Hydra"?
Can we just discuss about
that was a reference to
how America's ass was just the best?
Oh, that is America's ass.
That is America's ass.
As far as I'm concerned, that is America's ass. Oh, that was like the best line ever.
Yes, but for me, like, because of all the little Easter eggs in this movie, like they're like, oh, cool, but the one that was like, oh, that's badass was the Hail Hydra one.
Yeah, Hail Hydra, going to comic books, in Captain America #1 from a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was like hypnotized by Hydra, wasn't he?
No, he was always a Hydra agent. So and then that's when he says Hail Hydra. So it was really cool seeing him go in there and you're expecting this fight from Civil War.
No,
Winter Soldier.
And he takes on a guy that would become Crossbone later.
But instead he says Hail Hydra. So they trust him and give him the stuff. Oh, that was amazing,
Yeah, that's how you can sneak into anywhere. Just say say, "Hail Hydra."
And then
Hail Hydra.
and they're like, "Oh, cool, you're part of Hydra." So I thought that was freaking awesome. And then from there, the fact that Tony was trying to time heist with Ant-Man, they were trying to get the Tesseract.
And they do it by getting a small cardiac arrest on Iron Man. Just a small cardiac arrest.
They give him a little cardiac arrest, just a little bit. And I'm wondering if that encounter happened originally in the past. But they said, the past has been written, right? So technically, that's all these events that we saw, where they put everything away in the suitcase and they bump into
Hulk.
Robert
Redford.
on the bottom floor. That must have already happened because the past is written. So that encounter must have happened.
Yeah.
So Tony met him at some point. But this is the first time that
he had the cardiac arrest.
This is the first time that time branches off, because Hulk hits Iron Man
after being forced to take the stairs.
Forced to take the stairs, which I thought was a dumb joke, but it helped move the plot forward.
He could have
jumped out of the building.
Exactly. He should have just done that.
But this is where I think Disney Plus is planning on doing a Loki TV series, and I think it's going to be based on the timeline when Loki escapes.
That would actually be good, because I'm kind of wondering, where did he go?
And that's what's going to happen. So technically, by him leaving, this is where it's weird, and it starts not to make sense to me.
Right.
Time travel, man.
The past is written, but when they went back, he took the Tesseract and disappeared.
But maybe that always happened, but it didn't, right? No, that didn't happen.
Let's just agree that the time travel can be extremely complicated if you change.
We can't just leave it like that, because
this is the main conversation.
Yeah, that's the whole
Endgame.
Conversation of this whole movie.
Time travel, but how it works, because he left, right? And so originally I thought, okay, he just created a new branch.
A new branch in time where Loki has another chance to take over the world and has a chance to become a good partner with Thanos.
Well, so check this out. He left, gone, started a whole new timeline where, oh crap, the Avengers lost Loki, right? So there's a whole new timeline where the Avengers go through something completely different. That timeline could be destroyed. Thanos might, in that reality that Loki has just entered, what if Thanos wins and the world is destroyed, right? But this timeline stays the same.
Because this is the main timeline.
This is the what is it, 616 universe, right? So in the 616, technically Loki still lived all the way through Infinity War. And
up until
he's choked out. Up until he's choked out. So that still exists.
I feel like that. Yeah, right. He's still dead.
He's dead.
Endgame, except, like you said, he's in.
And multiverse theory basically says whenever a major event happens, a branch happens.
And that's how other universes are born, correct?
And that's how other universes are born. So, like, let's say I walk outside right now. Please, Lord, don't let this happen. But let's say I walk outside and someone does a drive-by and shoots me, right? And I die. That's a major event in my life. So in one timeline, I died. But then the universe branches off into another universe where I didn't die. So 2 universes are made. And then from those, if another event happens, it keeps branching, right?
So basically, dimensions are just leaves on a giant tree.
Exactly. That's all it is.
And this is
the tree trunk is the main universe, and the branches and the leaves or everything are different choices that we have made.
And this is why
that's some deep stuff.
Part of it, I don't like where it might be going, because for me, like I don't like that whole multiverse thing.
Yeah.
Like, I like it that it's just a one story thing and you follow this one story. But now
the Spider-Man comics have made it very well with the
Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that movie was great. And they played with that whole thing, right? But still, like, I like having just the one reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what's
your focus on the one reality.
And that's why, we're focusing on the main reality.
But now it seems like there's, like, things being crossed over and I don't know.
It's gonna so this is where I thought that maybe the Loki thing was fixed.
This is where I wish the whole thing ended. Because if the whole thing ends here, oh my god, amazing. Leave it like that.
No.
Yes, if the whole thing ended now, I would be super satisfied.
Yeah.
If from Iron Man
and then
1
start over
to,
and do a whole new thing.
Yeah, and start something new. That would be okay with me.
Well, so they did that, right? They lost the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So now they had to go further back
in order to get more.
Get it in the 70s.
Okay, so I think
where we get to see some famous characters in their prime.
Yes. So we see Peggy, we see Howard Stark, we see
Hank Pym.
Yeah, and then actually, I found out later that 2 actors in this film were from
the TV or Jarvis.
No, Jarvis is also
Jarvis,
there.
yeah, and we get to see Stan Lee.
Stan Lee in his supposed last cameo, like, "Hey, make love, not war."
That got me right in the feel.
Yeah,
did it really?
Yes, it did. Honestly, my friends told me his last cameo might be in Far From Home.
Well, they said that. That's the first thing. That was the first news that broke, and they said Endgame and Spider-Man. Then later on, they're like, "No, we lied. It's just Endgame." And I'm like, "No, I don't believe."
Honestly, I think it should be in Spider-Man because that is one of his most famous characters. Yeah, but
that's his baby.
Honestly, it was the Fantastic Four that laid down the foundation for Marvel Fantastic Four.
Well, no, actually, it was Amazing Fantasy. Spider-Man.
Actually,
because Amazing Fantasy 15, first appearance of Spider-Man, that was his first risk. Then he quit working for that company, right?
And started his own thing.
And that's when he did Fantastic Four. So he did Fantastic Four, and then that was the first family. Fantastic Four, and then Spider-Man #1 incorporated both of them. That was the first crossover, really. So then that just kept going from there. But anyway, so they go back. When was it? The 60s?
60s or 70s, I think.
Okay, so
I would say 70s.
Okay, so they go back in that time.
No, I would say 60s.
I was going to say 2 of the actors in this were in Community.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, he uses a lot of those actors.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool that 2 of them were in this.
Kim Jong whatever.
Oh dang, I don't remember his name.
Him, the one that had the Netflix special.
Yes.
And the girl in the elevator.
Yes, so they were both in it, and we'll post pictures of them or something.
And they just assumed they're terrorists because they had funny facial hair.
Yeah, like what kind of beard did he have?
Right, like he was a Bee Gees or I forgot what the.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah. And then we get the touching moment of Steve seeing
Peggy.
Yeah. Not Peggy. Sharon.
No, I think it was
Peggy.
Peggy?
Oh, Carter.
Peggy.
It was Agent Carter.
Sharon is now his niece that he made.
Sharon is his niece. Yes, Peggy Carter.
Yeah, but he got over
Patricia.
her.
No, but Sharon is the niece that he made out with.
That's so gross that he did that. I can't believe that.
And he winds up marrying Peggy and marrying Carter in the end.
Yeah.
So,
but think about it. That timeline.
By doing that, he technically made a whole new timeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Which I'm not okay with.
So I think for some reason I feel like Loki escaped with the Tesseract, but I feel like it was corrected when they went back to the 60s, 70s era.
Yeah.
Because Steve had to deliver the stone back in that spot before the Loki thing happened. So maybe they fixed it, maybe they didn't.
I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
And then in an alternate reality, you had your hat on the other way.
Oh my God! What reality are we in right now? Okay, so actually we need to go back to the time stone. Hulk and Ancient One.
Yeah, they're talking.
Yeah, they met. They interacted. Ancient One, I feel like knew this was something that was going to happen.
Yeah, since she knew and she told Thor that you're 5 years early.
I was trying to move it this way.
No,
so I can move this way.
Just tell me to move. Don't
you think we would have to?
Okay, so
you have to redo that again anyway.
It's like you were pulling my hairs. Like, okay. Anyway, what were we talking about? Okay,
the Ancient One. Go back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going back.
All right, reboot.
One thing we did not mention was the Time Stone. Ancient One met Bruce Banner. And in Hulk form, and then knocked him out into the spirit world as Bruce Banner, and they had a whole conversation. And Ancient One knew. I feel like she knew, right? She knew that they were going to have this encounter.
Yeah,
she knew who he was, and she said, 5 years in the future, you're 5 years too early.
Yeah, to meet Doctor Strange.
Yeah, well, so she knows that timeline, but I don't know if she knew everything about that timeline.
Well, I think she only knew all the way up till she died.
As far as exactly, yeah, because she can't see past her own death.
Yeah.
Right.
So she knew that Doctor Strange, you're too early because he's not Doctor Strange yet.
Right. And she knew Bruce by his name. She knew who Hulk was.
Well, but that could be just because he's kind of a famous...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone knows he's Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
He hulked out in front of a lot of people.
So, I mean, this is where, like, the important part comes where she explains the timeline. essentially. She says, this is the timeline. If you take a stone, it branches off into a new timeline. And then that's when Bruce suggests, let's put the stones back where we got them from, and the timeline stays the same. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And then freaking Loki takes the Tesseract, and there goes one stone, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, well, shit.
But I'm guessing maybe if you go back further,
Would it fix it?
does that
Like
fix
right
that?
before when they finally put the handcuffs on Loki, a little bit before that.
Well, they went all the way back to the 60s, 70s, right? And got the Tesseract again. So would that fix the whole timeline issue, you know? So, I mean, that's the thing. And then the fact that she was like, no, I need to protect the Time Stone. But when she realizes that Doctor Strange willingly gave the stone to Thanos,
she knew that this situation was pretty bad.
yeah, she knows. She's like, he's the best of us, so he had
He's
a reason.
supposed to be the best of
Here's the stone. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
The first time I saw it, I didn't get it. I was like, did Doctor Strange fuck up and like she's giving him the stone because she can't trust him now, or
Yeah, I thought
or
Hulk
what?
might have messed up.
No,
Doctor
she
Strange's
knew that
time.
he'd made that decision,
Yeah.
and he had to, this is what was supposed to happen. And then from there, they go back to the 70s. We kind of talked about that, but now we got to talk about they went back to one of the worst movies, Thor: The Dark World. So that's kind of like Marvel saying,
Yeah.
F you, let's talk more about Dark World.
Yeah, Team Thor and Rocket.
Yeah.
And was I the only one that noticed that right before they went back in time, that Rocket was sort of sporting his comic book suit?
Yeah, he wore it throughout the whole movie almost, from the time they went to go pick up Thor. Through the whole movie, he wore that blue classic outfit, so I thought that was cool.
The first encounter with him and Tony Stark, like, I thought
yeah.
you were a Build-A-Bear.
I thought you were Build-A-Bear, just
that was,
until
like,
now.
The funniest joke, in my opinion.
And then he's like, and then I didn't realize he said back like, I might be a Build-A-Bear. I don't know, because he doesn't know what he is still.
Well, you keep saying a raccoon, but I'm surprised he didn't meet a raccoon throughout the 5 years he's been on.
I'm sure he did,
Probably
but I'm
did.
sure we just didn't see it.
That would have been a cool interaction, seeing another raccoon. They should have done
That
that.
was very on the nose, though. Like, it was like, oh, yes, we're expecting that.
Yeah, I guess. So Thor: The Dark World, we're still seeing. That's when we actually see Loki again, and he's just like in his little chamber, right?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the cup or whatever.
So technically, they're still in the right timeline. They're on the right course. Then we see his mom, and actually this is the most Renee Russo, right? Renee Russo. Renee
she
Russo.
had the most lines in this movie than
Anything.
Yeah.
Both movies combined, right? So she had more screen time. I thought that was good, and it finally kind of gave Thor something good to do in the movie, and man, he was.
And
just
like I said, that should have been the point where
He should have gotten serious.
it gotten more where other people were taking him serious.
Yeah.
Instead of Cheese Whiz.
All I know is
Yeah.
that when Thor was starting to have a panic attack, Rocket had to slap some sense into him.
That was funny. Come here.
Yeah.
Come here. Just come here. It was so fast. I was like, oh shit. I had to laugh. It was a slap joke, but it was funny.
Yeah.
I liked it. But man, he was just a little whiny biatch, and he was just like, nah.
And Rocket had to pull off an Assassin's Creed move on.
Which reminds me, that must have been recycled footage, right?
I think so.
Like maybe unused footage from the Dark World?
But I thought that footage was in the movie.
Because it's easy to put Rocket and put him in that scene.
Right.
So it makes
I'm
sense.
thinking maybe it. Because I don't think they brought back that department for that.
No, she went to the premiere, but
Because she got paid.
She got paid to go to the premiere.
No, she got paid to be in the movie.
Oh yeah, she did, and she was probably not even in it.
And they probably just used old footage.
Yeah,
But we'll get back to that later on.
Yeah. Bring that back later. But so Rocket gets it. They say bye to the mom, and then another important thing happens. We realize that Thor is still worthy when he calls Mjolnir and gets the hammer.
Well, isn't Stormbreaker follow the same rules as Mjolnir?
No, because
It doesn't.
Mjolnir has like a Odin's like spell.
Yeah, Odin said he has to be
Like
worthy.
he has to be worthy of Thor, and whoever possesses has the power of Thor.
But Stormbreaker doesn't have any of them.
Yeah.
Stormbreaker's just a powerful weapon that anyone could wield.
Okay, so that explains a couple of things.
And there's another thing with Stormbreaker that I was just like, what the hell?
Later on or
Yeah,
now?
later on.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss that one.
So that's another thing. So also breaking the timeline, they take another item. They take Mjolnir, and they have the stones. They take that to the future. So that's why later on we find out that Mjolnir has to go back. So that's another key point. Then we come to we talked about Black Widow, right?
Wait, so does that
Yeah,
mean
we already
that
talked
Thor
about
no
everything.
longer has the hammer
He doesn't
in
have
that
the hammer.
timeline.
Yeah, so there's another timeline that got all out of whack.
I was wondering, like, what happened to the other Thor? Like, is he need that?
Throughout the movie, how many different timelines were made? There's a timeline where
Dude,
Loki got
everything
away.
every single
little
one they went to.
thing that happened created like something new,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 6.
almost.
So the Hail Hydra moment made one. Getting Mjolnir made one. Taking the stones made one. The interact everything. That's why the timeline was just getting messed up.
Yeah.
And the only way it could be fixed is bringing all the stones and Mjolnir back, because then it resets the timeline.
And then after they go back with their stone, we get to see how things were going to get the Power Stone.
Yes. So they go to the Power Stone, and what happens?
A whole lot of crazy different robotic memories gets exchanged.
So that was interesting. The whole link between both nebulas.
Right.
Yeah.
So we get to see that Thanos is still alive.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
he's
of course-
alive because it's a different.
It's a different
earlier.
time. It's 2014.
earlier, so
Yeah, and that's in the past.
Yeah.
And
he hadn't collected any of the stones yet.
Yeah, he's just going around planet killing.
I was kind of sad we didn't get to see Jumon Hansu.
Again, we've seen him in Captain Marvel. We saw him in the other Captain Marvel.
I wanted to
movie.
see him come and interact, maybe fight War Machine.
We've seen him in Captain Marvel.
One thing I think was kind of weird was that
Who? Star Lord, man.
I wish that so Nebula, 2014 Nebula, was having these memories, right?
Yeah.
So why didn't the other one get them until they were about to take off back to the present time?
What do you mean?
Because when she's
that,
about
that
to take
was
off,
another timeline. I'm telling you.
no,
I think it
nebulas,
was
both nebulas were in 2014.
They're
2014
linked because they're on the same network.
Yes, they're linked. So how come one of them, 2014 Nebula, got hit with like 3 different visions, and modern day Nebula only got hit with one?
Well, I think because since one was a little closer to that time and the other one was a little further down, I think it just hit her first because she was closer to that time.
Maybe. Because I thought they would be affected at the same time. I don't know.
Hey, at a certain point, we thought since we saw future Nebula kill her past self, that would erase her. But apparently, that doesn't.
No,
count
because that's a whole other thing. Like your past doesn't dictate your future or something.
Yeah,
like
your
that. Like you could change your past, but it's not gonna change your future for
Yeah.
some reason. Which
Yeah.
I feel like that doesn't make sense.
The reason it does make sense is because 2014 Nebula went to the future, right? She died in the future, which
Yes.
means she already lived her whole past.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe.
But if it was different,
If she had gone back to if modern day went back to 2014, got killed there,
That probably would have
Then
changed
if
something.
modern day killed 2014 in
then
2014,
maybe the 2014 one only lives up to that point in time.
yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like she only has that expiration date.
Does that make sense?
because then she'll
about
probably
it, like-
eventually
Well,
go
I
back.
understand. I understand.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean that's what I think. That's what I was thinking. Because you know we kind of thought of like if Nebula had died, shouldn't she have just disappeared?
Yeah.
Kind of like Looper, you know. But that's not the case. It's
Traditional time rules don't apply anymore.
yeah, it's totally different. They explored a different time travel that didn't exist in movies before. So that's kind of cool. You know, that was one of the unique things about it that we hadn't seen this before.
And there are 2 things that I liked about the whole trying to get the Power Stone thing. One, we get to see Star-Lord's perspective and everyone else's perspective of him getting the stone.
Yeah, him singing. Come and get your love. I like when like Black Widow kicked one of those little like rat alien things, and that's when they split up, right?
And when Gamora just went in and just grabbed the Power Stone and her hand is practically all melted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That reminded me of Terminator. I wanted her to do this, but she didn't do it. So whatever. So now all the stones are collected, right? I think that's. We still got to go back to the 70s because Tony talks to his dad.
Yeah, and then when they were talking in the elevator and he's saying, I hope it's a daughter because if I have a son, he might end up like me. And I sort of feel like that's, in Tony's perspective, him saying that, I wish you were a girl.
No, I think that was kind of cute because he's like, his son had a daughter, a granddaughter he's never going to meet. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of cool. Like they had that interaction and Tony got to really see what
His
he
dad
thought.
was like.
Yeah, he got to see like his dad in real light, not like the stern dad. Because, I mean, the way I act with you is different. The way I act with Martin, the way is different I treat my kids. You know, it's all different because as parents, we're strict and we want them to be better. You know, and when I'm talking to someone else, like I'm talking to you, you're already a young man, so I can just talk to you freely. And Martin, whatever. So I could just talk about whatever. So, you know, the interaction was totally different. So he got to see that light where, like, man, he did care about me, you know?
You get to see his honest opinion about him.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you could see that Howard was scared, but he was excited. And, you know, it was just a nice thing. And then when he hugged him and he was like, all right, Howard Potts. I thought that was funny. Yeah. Howard Potts. He looks so conspicuous, but Howard was like, I don't care. Let's talk. Let's be friends.
And I didn't understand, how can he seem familiar to him if he hasn't even met him at that point
Well, because
I think the
he's got
personalities
traits and stuff.
Yeah, I think like the way
if you were to go back in time,
Bond or something.
Like if you were to go back in time, and you met your dad,
dude. If you saw your dad in the past,
yeah,
he would totally be like, you look like me.
Oh wow, man, like
you got the nose, the chin, the face.
One thing's for sure, I wouldn't have the mullet that he had back then.
No, you don't want his mullet. That mullet was.
That's the same thing though. That's the same thing with this.
So I think, and then we got to see Jarvis, which was the butler. That was kind of cool.
His human version,
actual human Jarvis.
Maybe that's what inspires Tony to create Jarvis after seeing.
Yeah, definitely. That's the inspiration.
Who did create Jarvis? Was it his dad or did Tony?
No, Tony created Jarvis based on the butler. Well, he named it Jarvis after the butler, but I thought that was interesting. Yeah. So they finally get. Oh, and then Captain America sees Peggy. We talked a little bit about that. They come to the present. They have the stones, and oh man, who did not make it? Black Widow. So they all feel it. And
there was a nice emotional discussion. Hulk throws a bench into the water,
and I thought that was
that was cool. The most hulked out he got.
Yeah, it kind of.
And I thought when Hawkeye said, "Why don't you go up in space and talk to the red guy that told us how to get the stone?" And I would have thought Captain America would have asked some questions about that. And I mean, what do you mean, red guy?
Yeah,
I feel like that part should have been like inspected by Captain America.
Yeah, but I mean, he's gonna see it later, And the thing I appreciated was the fact that the camera, when Hawkeye told them that Black Widow was dead, or just with his face, you could see first you saw Steve, because he had a lot more screen time with her. But then they moved the camera and concentrate on Banner. And they concentrate on Hulk and his reaction because they loved each other at one point, Yeah, and the fact that he was devastated, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool because he teared up more. He was more devastated by the news. And then he got over it really quickly, but he knew that they just had to keep moving on. Like, he knew they had to, she couldn't have died in vain.
Because he was hoping that once they bring everyone back, she would be one of them. But
and they kind of confirmed she's gone because Thor was like, "We'll just get the stones and bring her back."
Yeah.
And then later on, Hulk said he tried. But
even Hulk knew before that she's gone.
Yeah, he knew. But he tried anyway, you know what I mean? Because he loved her. And I think that was good that they still touched on that, and instead of ignoring it, they kind of touched back like, it's still there.
Did it bother you that, because I hear a lot of people saying that, and they just forgot about Nat. And I'm like, not really.
I thought it would have been nice to
have
at least
two different funerals?
No. To have like a monument.
Of an assassin?
Of her, yeah. Of her, Vision, and of Tony.
Yeah, and the Avengers headquarters, a nice
like a statue.
Yeah. Well, I think at least maybe up to their heads and chins, like maybe up to there.
Something.
Okay.
I don't know. I felt like that, and they still kind of honored her. Like
they did honor her.
So what happens next?
Oh well, okay. There's an honoring part for her.
There is
in
dialogue.
And so we'll get to that.
So from there, they fashion the armor.
Get to the fucking last part of it.
Not yet, man. We're almost there. They hold the stones, right? They put the stones, and then Rocket's like boom and scares them. So I thought that was funny.
I thought that was worthy of Hulk giving a backup side.
I thought Rocket was gonna put it on because he always wanted a mechanical arm, right? He's like, and I need that guy's arm. I thought that.
He tried buying it off Winter Soldier in the middle of the War of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting that arm.
Yeah.
But so then they argue. Thor wants it. That's that emotional moment we were talking about.
And as they're arguing, the past Gamora, we forgot to mention that they switch places. That
Gamora's alive.
No. You're talking about Nebula.
Nebula. Yeah. I mean, Nebula. They switch places.
Yeah,
big. They catch. We forgot to mention that catch.
That was a big plot point.
Yeah, it was huge. They catch. So
they take off one of her golden plates and put it on.
They catch present Nebula. They switch places with old Nebula, and then old Nebula gives the Pym particles to Thanos, so they can time travel.
Yeah, his entire warship
comes back.
Nice.
So then, and we realize Gamora's alive in the past, right? Mm-hmm. So Gamora comes back to the present, which is interesting, because that means they could do the same for Nat. They could technically go back and get her, right?
Probably.
But this is where that's where I think the timeline branched off again. So, anyway, Hulk realizes he's the only one that can do it because gamma radiation and stones have it. He has it. Let's do it.
Yeah, he was made for it.
And you know what? One of the choices that I kind of wish was that they didn't do the right arm. I wish they kept it with the left. I don't know why.
It's because of your whole little theory, like, oh, he keeps complaining about his arm.
Yeah, but the left arm, not the right one.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Do you know you're right and your left, Martin?
Yes, it doesn't matter, though.
Well, I mean,
if you do this, you know which one's your left.
Well, I mean, if he did it with his other arm and he's in the middle of the final battle, I mean, he's hitting with his less dominant arm and less power. And
I don't know. I thought it would have been interesting. Like, the whole left arm theory was awesome.
I could barely snap with my left.
Sounds the same on my end.
Stupid. So, okay, so Hulk puts it on. Finally, he's able to do it. And everyone comes back, and then we get the phone call from, like, Hawkeye's wife. And
Birds are chirping.
I don't know how Ant-Man kind of, like, did he look at the bird and say, oh, dude, it worked?
Okay, I saw this comment.
You just know.
Okay, they never addressed this in the movie, but how awkward would it be, like, you lose your wife after 5 years, right?
Right.
You get remarried, and all of a sudden she's back?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
As soon as the snap happens, everyone comes back. And it's like they never aged, too.
Right. So she's younger.
Yeah, she's a younger...
I also have there's another plot point.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. We'll talk about that at the end.
We'll talk about that. And I already know. I know the answer already.
Oh, okay.
Because the Russo brothers confirmed it. Okay. Russo brothers were interviewed about two specific things that people were mad about, and they gave answers.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do.
Okay.
So then... That's when Nebula, evil Nebula.
Oh, dude, that show was amazing. Like, Hulk's just laying there
with his arm all messed
up in the shadow,
and then all of a sudden, just like he's like looking up into the sky, and that missile comes down.
I'm surprised Ant-Man survived. I'm surprised any of them survived.
Well,
really,
Ant-Man can shrink on the dime, so I'm pretty sure he would have at least maybe gotten a couple of scrapes.
I feel like he didn't see it coming.
When did he put on his suit? Did he have
his suit was still on?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and you could see during the explosion he flies back and shrinks at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So he like touched the button as the explosion happened. So he barely made it, man. And everyone collapsed, everyone falls, and then that's when it creates that iconic moment from the Secret Wars comic, and Hulk is holding up the rubble. In I forgot which issue it was. 8 number. I don't know. No, number 8 is way more iconic. That's the black symbiote suit. But Hulk is holding up the rubble and trying to save Rhodey and Rocket. And in the comic, he's holding it up for all the heroes.
And for some reason, Rhodey is out of his War Machine suit. For some reason,
no, he was in it, but he jumped out.
Trapped in it.
He was in it. He was stuck, and he was like eject or something.
Yeah. And without his suit or his mechanical legs, he was paralyzed again, and he had to crawl towards Rocket to get the rubble off him because it was like crushing him.
Yeah. So he saved Rocket. Hulk saved them, and they were all going to die anyway. They were all going to drown. They couldn't get out.
And Ant-Man running at his ant size, jumping over erasers and everything,
that was cool.
Trying to get to him and help
Seeing
him.
how the trailer translated to the film, that was pretty cool. And that Ant-Man saved their asses, so that was cool.
And I think Hulk could have done more in that situation because
he's holding up a whole building.
Yeah,
half of his
that's a
arm
very
is
stressful
like
situation. That gets
with one arm.
Yeah, and half
but
of
that
his
gets
arm
your
is
heart rate going even faster to stress, and that makes you even stronger. That should have made his anger side more gammaed up and hold everything up.
But I think he like neutered himself. Like he is what he is now.
Chill.
He can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, I'm cool.
He's like this beach bum, you know.
Yeah.
Listen to your mom.
No, that's an entirely different Hulk from a different comic book series.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
And then after this,
Hawkeye finds the gauntlet.
he starts
being
running.
chased by-
That reminded me of like a horror movie, dude.
Yeah. When he's like
Well, like
listening.
Alien, or like Alien. Remember, like,
Yeah, when
like
they're running through the
or,
halls.
like, yes.
That's true.
It's all red. He's just running through. All these little like dogs are
Yeah.
are
Alien
after him.
monsters or whatever they are.
Crawling on the walls like in
Like,
Alien.
wait, do they even fall under? Are they even part of the Jatari army?
No, they're not. They're not. They're a totally different species. The Chitaris didn't have 4 arms or
Yeah,
6 arms.
they're ravenous cousins.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. So, I mean, Hawkeye survives that. And so he makes it to the surface. Ant-Man saves Hulk and Rhodey, and Rocket goes to the surface. Iron Man and Cap, he has to wake up Cap.
Yeah.
And there's someone else with him, isn't there? There's
Thor.
Thor is just standing there looking at Thanos.
Yep.
He like Thor's just there like, I didn't get hurt, you know.
Like, I'm just staring at the man who scarred me for life.
And this is where we get to the good shit. This is where the big 3 come back, and this is where Thor finally gets redeemed and the fat jokes stop.
Yeah. He starts dual wielding.
Yeah, when he calls both, I just liked when he says, you know, when he's like, let's go get him or whatever, and his eyes light up and the armor, you know, gets on him
and all of a sudden his beard gets.
He has like a twist. Dude, that's I think that the second time when I watched it, I was like, I got the feeling the first time.
Honestly, I
but
didn't notice that much stuff with his beard.
Yeah, his beard had like little twist. He looked like a freaking Viking.
You got braided, yeah.
He looked like a Viking, so I was like, okay, cool. I can get behind this, you know. He looked like Hiccup's dad.
Yes, exactly.
So I thought that was pretty sick. So then the big 3 go up, and I was like, damn, Thor should be more powerful, but of course his fatness got in the way, so he couldn't defeat Thanos by himself with
Dude, but
Mjolnir
Well, it's hard
and
to squeeze in
Stormbreaker.
some ab workouts when you're saving the universe.
But that was my biggest gripe is in Infinity War, Stormbreaker was able to cut through all the power of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
All of it, because he like
But
shot
he couldn't
some ray-
defeat a regular Thanos.
Right, and I'm like, so what? Like,
I mean, Thanos' weapon was damn powerful,
Yeah,
man.
it was
But-
able to break Captain America's shield.
right, but that still he had the Infinity Gauntlet that wiped out half of the universe.
Yeah.
Which is more powerful than any weapon ever created.
Well, yeah.
I have a reasonable explanation for that. I'm thinking, so you can't use its full power because it'll hurt you and it kill you. So when he was trying to fight Stormbreaker was powerful, but he couldn't use all the energy because he had to use it for the snap. And
I don't know.
that was
dude.
it.
But
I mean, there's little-
Well,
just
you have
a
to
lot.
remember, in Infinity War, he already had all the Infinity Stones. He's already taken on some pretty heavy hitters in the Avengers, and he's all like cocky. I mean, I'm here to get the stone. Get out of my way. I don't have time for you.
Exactly, he's still powerful. Like he still has the full power of the gauntlet.
It's just
Yeah,
crazy
but-
that he took on all 3 of them.
Yeah, but in Infinity War, he was just like using his heavy hits, and he wasn't using all these crazy skills. Where in the past Thanos, he was using all these crazy weapons and skills, which made him dangerous, but still a little hard to take down.
His weapon was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The big 3 facing off against Thanos, but then something magical happens.
Thor's getting his ass kicked, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Thor's like literally that blade is going right into his chest.
Oh, it's like a mirror thing. It's,
And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, freaking Captain America grabs Mjolnir. Like, it comes to him, right?
it comes straight to him.
Well, he picked it up off the floor.
Yeah,
How
he
did
picks
that
it up off the
happen? I
floor and he
remember.
throws it.
He throws it at
All
him.
you see is the hammer move.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made to make you think
right.
that Thor's going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he throws it at Thanos, and when it comes back to him, Thor shouts out, "I knew it!"
Yeah, I actually love that part. It's like, because remember in Age of Ultron, he nudged it?
Yeah.
Everyone was saying, like, Steve knew he could, but he didn't.
Yeah.
No, I think he tried.
Honestly,
but
he's the most humble Avenger. The most
exactly.
Oh, yeah, of
That's
course.
why he was worthy, and that's why I love that Thor's like, I knew it. Like he was happy.
Yep. And
like,
then he goes to town on
dude,
Thanos,
oh
man.
my god.
He's hitting him with the shield, backhanding him with the hammer.
Oh, there's a part where like he throws a shield and throws a hammer and it creates like this
Ricochet.
And that was a callback
to the first Avengers.
when the big three first met.
Yes.
Yeah, Captain America fighting Thor, determine who gets Loki.
Right.
Yeah. And then it went and did that whole effect. So he used that as a fight move.
That was so cool. I love that part.
And so what made him lose the battle? He even summoned the lightning. Mm-hmm. He summoned it and shocked Thanos.
Yeah, he grabbed it like the lightning was coming through the floor.
Yeah.
Remember, like he was like, and then like.
That was so sick. That was
incredible.
Mm-hmm. And then when all hope seems lost and the armies are coming out.
Oh yeah, dude! I was like, holy crap! Because at this point, you kind of forget everyone's back.
Yeah.
Because everyone came back already, but you forget.
And what do we hear in his earpiece?
A Cap. But he's just standing there looking at his army with his broken shield, and he's still going to keep fighting.
But what does he say, though?
On your left.
On your left.
Oh, just like in
the Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And then all the freaking Avengers show up. It's so awesome.
You see all the Wakandans, all the sorcerers, everyone that was... Spider-Man, that one I felt very happy
Spider-Man
to see.
popped out. Oof, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they're all there ready to fight. Mm-hmm. And... the one thing I kept saying, that's all I need to complete. All I need, and I'm happy I can die right here in the theater. Captain America saying, Avengers, assemble.
Except he didn't say it that way.
Yeah, see, he goes, Avengers, assemble.
Now, my whole thing is like, how did everyone in the back even hear that? Dude,
They didn't have to, man. They just fucking ran.
Dude, that was funny, though. But still, like, it like, I thought I was going to think of Anchorman. Which
news team.
I still thought of it a little bit.
You still did?
But,
nah.
But it was still pretty cool.
At first I was kind of like, damn, I wish he was like, Avengers, assemble. And then they all run, but it still worked. I bet you they tried it.
Oh, man, yeah. I'm sure there's different takes on it. Because they could have been cool, like, if he was like, Avengers, and then he grabs the hammer.
Assemble.
Like, summons lightning. And then, like, assemble, and, like, he, like... And that would have been amazing. That would have been
I think
cool.
how they did it the first time was kind of the right amount of dramatic.
Assemble.
If it was any more, it would have been over the top.
That's all
Avengers.
Because they teased it in Age of Ultron. He says it in all my... he said it in all the... like, every time there's a huge battle, he says it in the comics. So I always try to imagine, how does he sound?
He did it in, like, ASMR form. You know what? You know, like, the... It's where like people like on the internet you'll see this a lot. It's like people were talking like this, and this is how they talk, and
what
the whole time. No, because there's talking into
people
the
that do that.
Yeah, and like if people get off on that crap.
That's so weird.
But like that's what he was doing. Like Avengers.
And I love how people made jokes about this too. How everyone has an earpiece.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how did they get those ears? Like, did Doctor Strange have a box while everyone was going through the portals? Like, here, you're gonna need this.
Everyone,
you're gonna need that.
No, but honestly, him and the easy explanation is him and Falcon already have.
Like Valkyrie was like
simple answer: cinematic magic.
Exactly. No, but like where Valkyrie's like, you're not gonna like where it's parked, and she's like a mile that way.
Yeah.
How's anyone gonna hear that?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. So when they finally break out in the battle and everyone's fighting, that's like the best nothing. No other movie in history is gonna give us that ever.
I kind of liked how Thanos' main people from Infinity War got killed off so easy.
Yeah, they did. Was it the Black Order? Mm-hmm. They all got kind of. Oh man, freaking!
Ant-Man stepped on that big dude like a bug.
Oh, that was hilarious, man! Just seeing Ant-Man punch one of the flying aliens. Oh,
that reminded me when Hulk did that.
The Hulk did that in the first Avengers.
He did, but just seeing Ant-Man do it.
It was more epic because it was in the air.
And I think that's why just the epic scale of it. It didn't hit me until like you see all the armies, right? Mm-hmm. But in the background you see Giant Man, you see Ant-Man, and just him there and all of them, and then Pegasus and all this. Like I was like, oh my gosh,
that was straight up from like, dude. There's because when I saw it in IMAX, it was more prominent to me. there's like moments where like you could have just taken the still image.
That's a
It was
poster.
like it's a poster.
It's a
It was
piece
like-
of art.
There's a part where I think it's
I get that thing signed by the cast.
Oh,
I wanna
every
see
single
that.
member of the cast.
I think it's when Captain Marvel came back.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing is like falling apart, and Captain America is like by himself looking at the whole destruction. I was like, that's beautiful. That's like a painting.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me.
Honestly, I would have thought Captain Marvel would be in the movie a little more than just the beginning and the end.
I feel like she was the right amount. Like,
She was too OP for the whole movie.
maybe, I don't know. I just thought she
What's
was...
OP?
Overpowered. You really never heard of that?
I've heard of the OP.
I've heard of the OP and
It's just OP.
and then I've also heard
OP?
of OP. No, the OPP. You know me.
Down with OPP. I've also heard of OP from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. See, so I've never heard. OP.
I just call it OP for overpowered, dude.
That's funny.
So sorry.
We're not hip anymore.
You guys are old.
We don't use acronyms.
Yeah.
So the huge fight breaks out. Captain Marvel makes her appearance when the one fight that I was like, yes, was Scarlet Witch versus Thanos.
Oh, payback.
That fight, man.
That made me think that she's way more powerful than even Captain
Anyone.
Marvel.
Yeah, she
because
can
they're
be.
because they're saying that Captain Marvel is the most powerful.
I think Scarlet
But
Witch
I don't
is,
think
man.
so, dude. Like after seeing Scarlet Witch, like he's like, oh fuck,
He freaked out.
yeah, he's like.
Rain fire.
Fire on everyone!
Like, but our armies, just do it! That would have been funny if he did it like that. Just do it now!
What about when they were playing Keep Away with the Infinity Gauntlet?
That
and
was
stones?
cool. That was
Yeah.
cool. Like Hawkeye, man, this innocent human with no powers running through everyone and trying to get the gauntlet away. Like,
he became a serial
Yeah.
killer.
oh god, yeah, he did become
Yeah.
a serial killer.
And my friend Ricky, he's like always hated on Spider-Man. Throughout the entire movie, he's been saying he's hating on Spider-Man. But when he sees him use insta-kill for the first time,
Yes,
he's all
insta kill was like one of those things that were like,
Yeah.
yes, he used it.
Yeah, that's the only time he'll kill.
Yeah, that's the only time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, alien bad guys. The most beautiful, one of the most beautiful moments also was when he rides with Valkyrie on Pegasus and they're flying through the air and oh hey, nice to meet you, and then they get knocked down. But just seeing them all fly and do all this crazy shit,
And
like
he gets saved by Captain Marvel, and and she just tells him, "Dude, just let us handle it." And all the girls.
and when he
come
needs to
in.
get out of instant kill and. Freaking Captain America, hey Queens, and he throws Mjolnir and then he flies out. Oh,
That was
I
awesome.
love when he's like, hey Queens. Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
There's so much little throwbacks.
Yeah, man.
And so there was another. Well, you
Yeah.
you had a thing, right?
Yeah, like when Spider-Man gets saved by Captain Marvel, and she says, "Just let us handle it," and you see all the ladies come in.
Yeah, all the ladies.
That was kind of a throw. I mean, a little
I
bit
kind
of
of
a
feel like the
throwback.
girls are a little stronger than the guys in the Avengers.
Yeah, I think they're more powerful than the guys.
Yeah.
They really are.
That was a callback to Infinity
'cause-
War. Remember when and it's like
Scarlet Witch, Black
or
Widow.
Black Widow's by herself, and was it her by herself? And
Then-
she's about to fight someone,
Well,
and
then
it's
the Michonne came in and saved
and
her.
then she's like, no, she's got backup.
Oh yeah, she's got backup.
Yeah,
and the
and
four
then,
girls are
yeah,
there.
and then that's the same thing that happened in this one.
Yeah, they said it again, huh?
Like, yeah, she's like,
don't worry, we got her back.
Yeah, we got her back.
Yeah, but this time
And that
we got-
was, I felt like that was like
a lot of people shitted on that, man.
I know, but the whole thing was fan service.
Yeah, it was
like,
just
so.
a-
So who cares?
I didn't go. I didn't do
Yeah.
that. I was like, yes! I like cheered. I was like, the girls.
Yeah,
But
because
that-
you got all the ladies. You got Gamora, Rescue,
Mantis.
You had,
Scarlet Witch,
Shuri,
and basically all the
all
ladies
the
from
girls.
MCU.
But like, I thought that was a nod to Black Widow
yeah,
Yeah.
because that was, I think that's her like, we're gonna do this
Legacy.
for Black Widow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the first female to join the team.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
that's
cool.
why I felt like she didn't like need a funeral or any, like or that scene like that.
Some kind of like
that I
tearful
thought
goodbye.
that was the scene.
You got some symbolic stuff in
Yeah.
that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some stuff there. I think that was all right. But and when we finally get to see the true power of, honestly, not the true power of Captain Marvel, but of Thanos when he's fighting Captain Marvel, like
And he tries headbutting her.
he tries headbutting her, and he freaks out, but he grabs the Power Stone and just knocks the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Oh, and I mean,
knocked her
before
out.
that, he threw her.
A couple
He
of
knocked her
times.
out after that, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But before that, he threw her without her realizing how strong he was.
Uh-huh.
Like, he grabbed her and threw her and then tried putting it on. And he was about to snap. he did this, and then she stopped him like last minute, man. I was like, holy crap. Oh, that freaked me out. Mm-hmm. And then the moment this happens. Oh.
Dude! We rehearsed this!
I just loved when... It's because he can't snap.
I was just like really in that moment. I couldn't just...
So, when Thanos... What he says, I am inevitable, and there's nothing.
Yeah, because Iron Man stole his Infinity Stones.
And they're
he
all...
stole them.
And he goes down to, I am Iron Man.
Did you notice all the stones were like crawling to?
Yeah, because he has nanotech technology. Because when he grabbed them, his nanotech sort of grabbed him, and then it just hit him on his body, and then they just
formed on his own. That was cool. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
And just to think that after he snapped and killed everyone, turned all the bad guys into ash, right? He did it. He was still able to walk somewhere and find a place
to rest.
And he was able, like, he's a human, and he got up and he walked over and he found a place to. And man, Robert Downey Jr., the way he did it, man, like, either the Russo brothers knew how to direct him in this, or he knew what he wanted to do, because he was just like disoriented, like he didn't know what he was looking, like he was blind, you know, and he was just gone already, you know.
Well, Iron Man went through a lot of both physical and mental battles throughout his time.
No, but I'm just talking his act. Right, Robert Downey Jr.'s acting when he's sitting down and dying.
It was like he went to
his own
Elysium in the end of Gladiator.
Oh yeah,
remember like that's like that where he's like with
like feeling the plants.
Yeah, that's where like I felt that's where he went.
Yeah, he was there.
Because even at the end of that movie,
he must have channeled the inner Russell Crowe.
Because even in that movie, he's like just staring off into, but like,
and he even looks at the queen and he's like not really knowing who she is, but he knows, you know.
Yeah.
And the same thing, he looked at Pepper, like he looked at Rhodey and Rhodey put his hand on him. It's like, oh god. The three most important people were with him when he died, you know. And it was Rhodey. And then I was like, Parker, get out of the way.
A little bit.
Come on, Parker was a big part.
So we did it. And then like Pepper's like, okay.
Right, yeah.
I only have like 5 seconds left with him. And then, you know, and that was like his last words, like Pepper. Like that's all he could really say, Pepper. Yeah. And when she tells him, you can rest now, and I was like,
dude, that was literally like a Gladiator.
I want to cry right now.
That was a Gladiator ending.
Yeah, that was a Gladiator ending.
Because she's like, go home to your family now.
Yeah,
you know, like that's the end of that movie.
She just says go, and she says rest.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cry time.
Hashtag cry time.
Cry time, dude.
Dude, and then the way the amount of time they spent on that moment, like you see Tony die, the light go out. And they didn't just cut to the next scene. They showed Cap there, and they showed Thor there, and they were just there. Yeah, they saw their friend die, and that was it. And then it cuts to the funeral, and it just kept like punching your heart, man, because it was just like, boom, he's dead, and boom, the Avengers are crying, and boom, we're putting Tony's proof of a heart in a freaking lake.
Oh, did you see that?
What?
Okay, somebody had a picture of proof that like a black and white photo, but with the red.
Yeah.
On it. And then when everyone has their arms,
it's the same shape.
It's the same thing. Like it's like, oh, that's cool.
That was a nice little call.
I didn't see
they all put their arms in.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're about to time travel.
It looks like that too.
That's cool. That's cool. I did see that. That's freaking cool. Just little things, man. The imagery, the way they directed it.
It was just a very satisfying film.
It was a satisfying ending.
Satisfying film.
I was satisfied by the end of it.
At the funeral, the first showing, I was like, "Who the hell is?" Okay.
Oh, that one kid.
Yeah. I'm like, because they show everybody.
And there's one mysterious kid they show before Nick Fury. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Who is that kid?
So he's the kid from Iron Man 3.
In Iron Man 3, the kid that
helps
with him. That helps Iron Man. That's him grown up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought that was just Peter Parker. That was
Peter Parker was
with Aunt May. He was like one of the first ones.
Yeah, he was on the other side.
The kid standing by himself was the kid.
He kind of looked like the Andrew Garfield Peter Parker.
He did look like that.
Oh, okay, I remember him.
You remember him? Yeah. So
but he was like way older now. Like he looked
way old. That's why. And they spent enough time. Like he was there, and you're like,
he helped him for one of his more emotional problems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, he was there during the PTSD moments.
But it was weird because I'm like, what was this?
Who's this kid?
But yeah, then I was like, oh, I had to look it up because I didn't know.
Yeah. The first time I saw it, I was like, it hit me, and I saw it, and I was like, nah. And then I researched it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And at the funeral, we sort of get a reference from Iron Man's first movie when Happy is talking to Iron Man's daughter.
Oh.
Yeah, and she
Your
says
dad liked cheeseburgers?
Your dad liked cheeseburgers.
And the moment he takes when he like cries, he's like tears up, he's like, I'll get you all the cheeseburgers.
I ate a cheeseburger earlier today.
Oh god!
And when he got back home after being held hostage in his first movie, he's like, take me to Wendy's, I want some burgers.
Yeah, no, it was Burger King, right?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Burger King.
Burger King.
Yeah, because they were sponsoring this stupid.
They were sponsoring Burger King. Yeah, they sponsored it. But yeah, man, he's like, "What do you want? A cheeseburger? I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want." Yeah. And then another punch to the freaking heart when they show the hologram and tells his daughter one more time, "I love you 3,000."
Yeah,
and I was like,
Dude, that was just so.
Oh god, that was so sad.
And it was like he's the one that started it, so he had the biggest goodbye, and then it had the small little subsection goodbye for Black Widow when Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch are talking.
Yeah.
Honestly, Black Widow didn't really have that much. What's the word I'm looking?
Screen time?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
Screen time? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and she kind of piggybacked in the second Iron Man movie.
Well, in this one, she had a lot more screen time, man. They showed her, with the team in the beginning. She was running the Avengers by herself, practically. And then she went to go get Ronin, and then she time traveled and sacrificed herself. Yeah, I mean, she only survived half the movie.
She was a pivotal point in this whole movie.
Yeah, she was important. And but there was a few people saying that when Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch were talking and saying, I wish that she knew that we won. And then Scarlet Witch said they both did. My first thought is Vision and Black Widow. That's my first thought.
Why would are you talking about Gamora now?
Yeah, I was like, why would they even think Gamora?
Who said that?
People online were saying like, she's talking about Gamora. I'm like, how would she know Gamora?
Yeah, exactly.
Makes no sense.
Okay. So I heard the same thing. I was like, that was ridiculous. I didn't think.
I was like, that's the dumbest theory I've ever heard. Yeah. Get off the internet. But
Vision and Black Widow.
Yeah, it makes sense. Vision and Black Widow. So
yeah, they knew. They both knew.
Then we come to the most controversial part.
Yeah.
So
I'm not the biggest fan of
in order to restore this timeline, they have created multiple timelines by now.
Oh, heck yeah.
Too many. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like
they have to. And those timelines could have created alternate timelines.
Yeah, it could have just kept growing. So the only way to bring it back to one is to return the stones, right?
Yeah, return it this, there.
Return them right where they're supposed to go. So, of course, who volunteers?
Cap.
And that's when we get the cool callback line from the very first Captain America movie. In the very first Captain America movie, when Bucky's leaving for war, Captain America says, "Don't do anything stupid." Or Cap tells him that. Yeah.
How can I? You're taking on the stupid with you.
Yeah. So actually, Bucky says that to Cap.
Yeah. Don't do anything stupid.
And Cap says, "You're taking on the stupid with you to the war." And now vice versa. Then so I was like, "Oh, that was cool. That was cool."
So he goes back. He obviously has to take
all the stones.
All the stones back.
The
thing is, he had to put a stone back inside of Jane.
He probably had to stab her
like how Rocket did. Her and like injected it into her.
He's like, "Jane, I need to stick you."
He had to go and meet Red Skull again.
Yeah, he had to encounter Red Skull.
I really wish we saw that. Really wish we could have seen that.
But the thing is, like, the gem just appeared. It didn't just. It wasn't like sitting in a place.
Maybe he had to put it in the water.
Who knows? But so that must have been an awkward conversation.
That was very awkward.
Right. What else?
Give the time stone back to the Sorcerer Supreme.
Well, I guess nothing else was like that awkward.
Everything else made sense.
But just those other two were very awkward, I'm sure.
Yeah. So then it makes you wonder, because, okay, so when back to like somewhere in the middle of the movie when they're time traveling, he took 4 vials, right? And technically he only had to go to 3 places, so he used the final vial to go to a time when he could be with Peggy.
Yeah.
So
But then he reopened another.
He created his own timeline.
Yeah, where he
Which,
stayed.
this is where it's tricky. So, he did that. He took all the stones and Mjolnir back to where they go, right? And then he said, F it, I'm going to go live my life. He goes back in time. By doing that, he created
A separate timeline.
Separate timeline, which he exists above this timeline, right? So he exists here while all of original Captain America's past still exists here.
But then how did he get here?
That's the thing. That's the story. So the Russo brothers said, well, there's a story there of how he comes back to the main timeline.
But here, okay, that's not what I was talking about earlier. I was actually talking about Spider-Man.
Oh, no, that's what I want to talk to you about, too.
Okay.
So the Russo brothers also said, so everyone goes back to their lives, right? So the first time I saw it, you see that Ned is crying.
Yeah.
Because he sees
noticed.
Peter,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, oh shit, maybe he's like, oh, Peter, you're alive.
So did he get dusted too?
Now it's been
His
confirmed,
entire
yes.
class.
His entire class
How
got dusted.
convenient.
Because so you go back and watch it, and
The
Peter
bully?
walks into the school, and he looks around, and
Flash Thompson?
you could see his face. He's looking at all the kids, and he doesn't know any of the kids because they're kids that were younger than him, and now they've all grown, and he stayed the same age. So he's like, I'm not going to know anybody. Then he sees Ned, and Ned's crying because he also had walked into the school and doesn't know anyone. But he sees Peter, and he's like, I'm not alone. We're still together. But it happened to Flash. It happened to Betty, MJ.
I'm hoping this whole new time gap will be able to bring in Harry Osborn, because I really want Harry Osborn to be part of Spider-Man's life at this point.
Harry would be cool to introduce, I think.
Yeah, at this point.
That could be something that like Harry was a younger kid.
So there's another cool thing that they talked about. They said that now that the future is been kind of, there's multiple futures now, right? And there's only really one new timeline with Cap.
Captain America.
So there's two things. They could explore this timeline, which they're not going to do because Chris Evans retired. They're going to come back here and they're going to explore the fact that Captain America was an old man, gave the shield to Sam. So
Yeah.
Sam Wilson is
Will
now
become Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon. Now he's Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. So now we have our show. That's going to be on Disney Plus. Winter Falcon and Winter Soldier. Right?
Honestly, I would, if I had to choose one of the two, I would probably say maybe Winter Soldier, because he has some super serum in him too.
Well, see, this is where it gets also tricky because in this timeline, Bucky, everyone already, their past is written. So in this new timeline, what if Captain America stopped Bucky from dying? What if he let Bucky live his life? What if the Avengers never formed? Because he has all the knowledge. So he lives in a world where it's nothing but peace. Because he knows Hydra infiltrated. He knows what happens to his friend. He can live a normal life. What if he still operated as Captain America, but like
On the low?
On the low, So there's that timeline. But in this new timeline, now we can explore the integration of X-Men, Fantastic Four. What if this timeline was altered in a way where
Something happened in like the 40s.
Yeah. What if they changed
you know
something?
why? Because if him not ever going into the ice, maybe they were messing with something and caused mutation.
Check this out. What if this would be kind of cool? Loki has the space, the Tesseract,
space
right? So he escaped with the Tesseract, and technically, when he escaped with the Tesseract, he probably got erased when they returned it back to the 60s, 70s, right? But what if, when he escaped, he caused some kind of cosmic force that creates the Fantastic Four?
Like that solar flare that gave them their powers?
Yeah, what if the Space Stone gave the Fantastic Four their powers?
Well, it would have to be in space at the time,
Because it gave Quicksilver his powers. It's the same one, right? Or was it the Mind Stone?
I don't know
I'm
which
pretty
one
sure.
gave
I'm
him
pretty sure they were born with those abilities because they're mutants.
No,
They
they were experiments.
Yeah, they're not mutants. They're made. They were tested on.
So technically now the future is wide open. They can do anything.
Which credit
now.
was that though? I don't remember. Was it Thor?
It was
Thor Dark World?
No, it was Avengers, wasn't it? No, it wasn't Avengers.
All I know is that who knows what's going to happen to the MCU at this point.
I don't remember which movie it was where they show the.
I can't remember. But you're right. Who knows what's going to happen now?
Yeah, after Far From Home, who knows?
So Far From Home. So I mean, there's ramifications from the 5-year gap. Some of the kids were dusted and they all came back and they have to stay in high school. So that's one. That sucks. But yeah, that's what happened. So that's where it gets interesting with all the people coming back. What kind of ramifications are we going to see? Like all the people, like even in the beginning of Endgame, Steve was like, the water's clear, the whales are close to New York right now. Like it's that's the bright side. Like things are changing. Now all the people come back, all this pollution is going to happen again. People's lives are affected. Mm-hmm. It's like you were married, your wife disappeared. 5 years later, you met someone else, and now your wife returns. It's like Castaway. Tom Hanks comes back, and you're like, holy crap.
I thought you were dead.
Yep. So you could just picture the ending of Castaway being applied to any future movies.
Honestly, I think Lost is a bit more complicated than that.
Oh yeah, Lost is just a mess. Lost, they didn't know what they were doing. They were writing it like, okay, how about this? And they put it on the board. And how about this? And I think Endgame, they put 3 years of thought into Endgame. Mm-hmm. So they have things up their sleeves. Russo Bros are done. Russo Bros said that Endgame's the last movie in their contract. They're not doing any more movies. Mm-hmm. So now it's just up to whoever. Kevin Feige's going to keep ushering in new directors and find that talent to hopefully, But whatever the case, this experiment, the first 3 phases, good movies, bad movies, overall, the biggest success that Marvel's ever had, that Disney's ever had, billions of dollars. This is the second weekend of Endgame. Did you know that it's projected to reach $2 billion? I feel like this is one of those movies I can watch like multiple times. Like
none. Well, I mean, the fact that I think it will beat Avatar.
Okay,
I don't know if it's gonna beat it by a lot. I think it'll barely beat it.
Oof.
Like I think it'll maybe make like
to me it's
2.9.
The fact that Avatar took most of its lifetime to get like 2.7 billion.
But that's the whole point of it. Like it's lifetime. That's how
lifetime.
We measure.
Honestly, in my opinion,
but then you look at
and Avatar's right here, so there will probably be a little gap between. But I don't think Avatar will be.
But it just amazes me that Endgame was released at the same time almost in multiple places. Right, fine, but it made $2 billion. It's gonna by the end of this weekend, it'll be at $2 billion. With its popularity, with its fans,
I have to look that up.
I think it's going to be
right now. I want to know.
It's going to be way past Avatar. I think we're going to hit $3 billion, if anything.
All I know is that a couple good movies are going to come out after this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Spider-Man: Far From Home. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that one. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. It's my Spider-Man hat. I am excited to see what they bring on Disney Plus, the Loki show, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Hawkeye. So those are going to be some cool shows on Disney Plus. So we're probably going to get, Disney Plus launches in, I think, December.
I definitely need to get that done.
It's only going to be $7 a month.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, you're going to get to see everything.
And it's cheaper if you just buy the whole year.
Yeah.
$70.
That's not bad, man. I might do it. So
I am gonna do it for sure.
Honestly, I still haven't even finished watching Daredevil on Netflix.
Oh,
neither have I.
You have to watch that 3rd season, man. It's a good way to end it, man. It's anyway. We're talking about Endgame. So Endgame, a lot of cool stuff. I mean, like, I don't know if we even talked. Did we talk about Ant-Man's helmet?
Yeah, you mentioned it.
So I mean,
the original Ant-Man's helmet.
Yeah,
that was a cool little Easter.
That was a cool Easter egg.
Yeah, from the '80s comic
lots
book.
of little Easter eggs that you could go frame by frame and you could find so much, and it's just, I think there's still a lot more that we haven't seen, haven't experienced, and there's so many theories out there. This whole time travel thing, it's a mess, but at the same time, I feel like you can still make a lot of cool stories out of it. And now that Phase 3 has ended and all that's gone, moving forward, we can finally get Fantastic Four. We can get X-Men. We can get all sorts of cool stuff.
Let's just hope the new Fantastic Four isn't like that other remake.
It's not, man. Now it's in MCU's hands. It's in good hands.
But also, I want to say that Kevin Feige said that he hadn't even been thinking about them at all yet.
No, he said he has ideas for X-Men, not Fantastic Four.
But like, he said that the latest we'll get anything from them is like 5 years.
That's fine. I can wait. I want to see.
Which is fine because I think after this I need a breather.
Well, I want to see what they do because we have Black Panther 2.
I know, but
Doctor Strange 2.
I feel like this could have just been the ending, and I would have been very happy with that.
It could have been
the fact that we're gonna go into a new phase, into a new more movies.
Whole new Avengers
like,
team, man.
It's exhausting, dude. Because like I feel like nothing's gonna live up to this. Anymore.
No, nothing will. Nothing will.
And like expectations are gonna be like really high, and they're gonna come out really low.
You know, I think they did this the smart way because I think they fulfilled expectations with Endgame. Right? Mm-hmm. They built up to this monumental moment. They did it. Now it just leaves questions, right? So I don't think there's so much expectations as far as like, oh, is there going to be a better movie? No, it's going to be the fact that we're going to go out there and want our questions answered. So it's going to be more curiosity than expectation. We're going to go and be like, okay, now what's happening with Spider-Man? What's happening with Falcon? We would just want to know, and it's going to rebuild our expectations again for, okay, now that these mysteries are being answered about the timeline and where everyone stands, who's the new threat and how are they going to get together to fight it? Honestly, which brings me to the question: what do you think? Who do you think is going to be the new big bad, if there is one?
I don't have any thoughts.
If I had to say, maybe a new big bad, maybe a couple of, I don't know why, but I think seeing a couple of villains that we haven't heard from in a while coming back, I think that might be kind of
heard
cool.
From like as in introduced already, and then
maybe a couple of villains we've met already, and a couple we've never seen before yet.
Like if you had to choose one, I would think like Dormammu could be a good one.
Coming back,
but I think the coolest would be Galactus. I think if they bring in Galactus and they introduce Silver Surfer, I think we could have some cool stuff, man.
If they do the Silver Surfer from the other Fantastic Four, I think that would be good. But get rid of that other Galactus.
No. Do an embodied Galactus, not the big cloud.
That was just weird.
It was weird.
Yeah, and I also have a theory about a new Avengers team. I have a little theory.
What's your theory?
Like, I would probably say, like, maybe Hulk and Old Man Captain America just be sitting on the sidelines giving advice and tips, Hulk being the tech guy. And for the actual team, I would probably put in Spider-Man, Winter Soldier, Captain Falcon, Hawkeye, because you got to have some couple of senior members in there. Who else? Thor, maybe, possibly, since he's out with the Guardians of the Galaxy now.
It looks like now he's part of the Asgardians.
There's a comic.
Asgardians of the Galaxy.
There's a comic book called Asgardians, and that was funny too. Like the fact that he handed the keys to Valkyrie and said, "You're the king now, Queen, King. She's in charge." He left. He's going to be in Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy.
It looks like it.
He better have some ab work.
I think it's going to be like the search for Gamora.
Yeah.
And I have a theory too.
Okay,
I think Adam would be a good villain for that one.
But what's the thing?
3.
Like,
who?
Adam, remember
Adam Warlock, he's the new villain, I bet, for Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know that much about Adam, but I'm pretty sure he was like maybe an anti-hero.
He's supposed to be like he was supposed to be the one to defeat Thanos.
But they cut him out?
He's out. So he's going to be, I think, the villain and hero of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But I also feel like they're going to search for Gamora. And
that's my question: is what happened to that Gamora?
She disappeared at the end of the film.
She disappeared, or she got dusted? Because
I'm sure
in Tony's head, he got rid of all the people who just jumped in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, did he dust her too?
What if he did? And what if they're searching for Gamora? What if they answer that question? Like they say, "Look, the Gamora that they brought back, she got dusted, right?" So what if? It's
the other Gamora is also dead.
Yeah, she's also dead. But what if the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is like Adam Warlock's the bad guy, but they're also searching for Gamora, and in their search, they find a way to bring back Gamora and Black Widow.
That would be cool, but I think unlikely. But there's one thing
Give me something to throw, because I don't want that. Keep him dead.
Throw one of your
No
DC stuff.
I want. If you're gonna be dead, be dead.
I think they are. I think
don't do this whole thing with like the Loki thing. He's died I don't know how many times now.
Heroes and villains have a hard time staying dead. You should know that by now.
Loki's like
But the thing is like that has no stakes anymore. Like if you see somebody die in the movie, like, oh, whatever, it's not going to impact me that much because they're going to come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no drama there anymore.
Well, I think it's good.
This whole Superman thing, or else he'll die and then he'll just come back.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think that Gamora, since she fought alongside them, I think she did not get dusted. I think she escaped somehow, and they're going to search for her.
And they have to reteach her how to be Gamora.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Well, she's gonna have to fall in love with him all over again with Star-Lord. And
it was. Although it's gonna be out to a rocky start because on the battlefield when Star-Lord sees Gamora, she nut hits him.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah, the first time you didn't get me, but that second time
you got both. So I think that's what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be. So I think Thor is out. But yeah, I like your team. So
yeah, and Ant-Man, Wasp is definitely in there too. They've definitely proven themselves worthy.
That's a full team. Captain Marvel too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a full team. I don't think you need any more.
Actually, I don't think Captain Marvel would be a part of it because she's more like protecting the universe, like Guardians of the Galaxy, but she does it on a much larger scale.
Yeah, so she could even be a part of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 if she wanted to.
Yeah, and Avengers probably still have her pager too, so in case they need her.
If they need her, yeah. Yeah, so she could just be one of those, like, cameos.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. All right, I'm here. What villain you need me to punch now?
You need me to punch Galactus? All right, Dormammu? Who's that? All right, let's do this. So, but, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, we talked about the whole freaking movie. There's still a lot. There's a lot of stuff
this
out there.
video is just as long as the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. So if you stuck around as long, then you saw everything that we could even think of discussing.
So yeah, give yourself a round of applause.
Good job. Good job. All right, so I mean that was it for Endgame, and now we have a special giveaway.
Y'all probably thought we forgot, but we did.
We did.
We totally did.
Totally forgot, but I brought it with me, so I kind of didn't forget. So we have the Rocket Raccoon Walmart exclusive Endgame Pop. It's kind of hard to find now, in all honesty. So hopefully, if it's not part of your collection, it will be now. We had a bunch of rules for entering to get it, but I'm going to make it very simple. If you're a subscriber and you commented on our Endgame pregame video, the video we made before we even watched Endgame, then you are entered in this little jar. So, will you do the honor, Steve?
All right.
Wait, you gotta
shake that up. Shake it up. Shake it, shake it, shake it. We do it old school. We don't use any of these little apps anymore. We keep it old school. We write down your names, throw them in this little jar. So let's see who's going to win the pop.
Drum roll, please.
That was horrible. All right. The winner, Franz Bautista. Whoa. You are the winner of this pop.
Is this like actually Bautista?
Yeah, Bautista. Yeah,
nice.
Franz Bautista.
Isn't he on the back of this thing? No, Drax isn't.
Nah, Drax isn't in there. So you are the lucky winner of this pop. Congratulations. Thank you for being a subscriber and for commenting. Please share the love. We want to do more giveaways like this. We love you guys. Thank you for being fellow nerds. So, Franz, we're going to reach out to you and hopefully you give us your info. If you don't, we got a runner-up, all right?
Yeah.
So, other than that, actually, you know what? F it. I have a second pop. Let's draw another name.
Do you really?
I have a second pop.
Is it with you?
It's not with me. I have it at the house. I have a second pop. Right. I'm going to give it away. It's also a Rocket Raccoon.
All right.
Because I love you guys. And this is Endgame. All right?
Pull the name.
Oh, God. Who is it? Andrew Montano.
Hey,
all right. So both of you are getting a Rocket Raccoon pop. Do I have a third one?
Do you?
I might have a third one.
Do you?
I have...
Do you?
It's mine. I'm sorry. I can't give that one away.
Yes, you can.
I'll think about it. Maybe for the next one. So we got 2 that we're giving away. Congratulations, guys. I'll reach out to you so we can make sure we get these mailed out to you as soon as we can, all right? Like I said, thank you for being fellow NerdFellas. Thank you for subscribing and following us. Please share the love so we can go ahead and do more of these giveaways for you. And hopefully we get other special guests. So, all of our subscribers, if you're here local or you're just in town and you want to sit down and
let us know.
Nerd out.
We want to build a NerdFellas army with plenty of ladies and guys. We need
We want the
NerdFellas.
the NerdFellas and the NerdFellas. So, if you want to sit down and just get nerdy and let's talk nerdy and nerd out and let's do it.
Let's get nerdy.
Other than that,
Steven.
Martin.
Mike,
Nerd out.